Right, welcome. We are back. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time you are watching this. Welcome back to the Unpopular Black Gamer, where we are reviewing Star Trek Strange New World Season 3. This is episode 9 today, titled Terrarium. As always, my boy Patrick is joining us with this review. Patrick, say hello, sir.
Hello, everyone. The
And we
Titans lost.
he got to it before I could. And
well,
we
I
are
always have I always have a thing that I kind of try to tack onto it to help you out with the entertainment value, but my mind was just like blocked. It was like, say something funny, say something funny. I was like, all I can say is this.
of course we are recording this on Sunday and it is week 1 of the NFL. Me being a Tampa Bay fan and Patrick being a Titans fan. Uh, we have some lopsidedness here. My team won. Granted, it was a nail biter down to the very last play. I almost had a number of heart attacks. Um, I could just see my wife like typed in 911, just waiting. Like,
Yeah, you get into the games. I think not get into it because I'm into it too, but you have a bigger response to things
I do.
than I typically do. Uh,
It's my
so I could
competitive
see that.
side. It's my competitive side is really big, and plus like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers don't get the level of respect around the league like I feel that they should. So when my team like lays an egg or doesn't do well, like it's deeply hurtful to me because I'm just like, we're better than this. Now people are just gonna continue the whole, yeah, Tampa Bay isn't that great. So
Got it.
even when they
Well, a
win a
team that's
Super
still
Bowl,
not.
they're still looked down upon.
Yeah, but that's kind of, and we've had this conversation before. I'm like, that's kind of on you. I mean, you buy the merch, you tune everybody out. They can't tell you anything after you won a Super Bowl.
I get
Like
it.
I know it for a fact. The day that the Titans win the Super Bowl, they will be talking about something else the next
That's true.
day.
That's true.
So I know I got to find that joy within myself because, or the next day will be about how whoever we beat really kind of beat
Yeah.
themselves in the game. Like it
Why,
will not be about the Titans. So I know you gotta like find it within.
and while they're talking about that, you're on look NFL.com order. Yep. And placed.
Yeah, exactly. It's like whatever, whatever, whatever.
Yeah, and that's pretty much what I did. And with my wall when the last, which was crazy because when Tampa Bay first won, I was what 18, 19 in college, didn't
Something
have
like
any
that.
money,
Yeah.
so I wasn't able to really buy any merch. Then somehow over the years, I've looked up to merch. Like people had merch, and they're just like, "Hey, this came from like when y'all won the Super Bowl." Like, yes, thank you. So I have some items. But like this time
Okay.
around when Tampa won, I was just like, yeah, I'm going on here like buying a number of things.
So my last team to win one of the big sports championships in college, and I don't even know how people look at college baseball,
Hmm.
was the Tennessee Volunteers, 2024 NCAA
Hmm.
Men's College World Series champions. And the reason why I was able to say that is because it's on a little nameplate that I bought. I got like 3 magnets on the fridge. I got 2 commemorative baseballs, 2 mini bats.
Yep.
So yeah, it's like money, money, money out the door.
But we are speaking Star Trek, not NFL.
What? Oh, right.
And we had a pretty, um, you know what? I am gonna start off by saying I don't know how to feel about this episode fully. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't like one of the greatest episodes that I've seen. Like,
Yeah, it was. There were moments where I was like, there was a moment in particular I was like, this is a 9. And then, but then I think about the episode and I'm
mm-hmm,
like,
mm-hmm.
and I mentioned to you this when we started. I'm like, I don't totally remember what happens because it wasn't like, like the best episode. So yeah, I'm with you.
There
I'm gonna see
wasn't
how my score changes as we talk about it. But
I don't think mine's will though. But there wasn't a lot of memorable story beats. But granted, like you might throw out something that I wasn't thinking about when I'm watching it. But I mean, starting straight off with it being Ortega's, I was just like, yes, an Ortega's episode. Like I felt like it was time for us to finally delve deep into her and like get some good story beats or some good character development, I should say, from her to like expand her role. Because I believe in the previous episodes leading up until now, she didn't have many areas that like moved her forward as a character. Would you agree?
as a character, no, this has been a big Ortega season. Like they really worked to this moment. I think there was one last season where everyone, for some reason, was forgetting what they were doing,
Yeah.
like how to fly the ship or something like that. And that's where we got the I'm Ortegas, I fly
I
the
fly the
ship,
ship.
and
Hmm.
she kind of like saved the day. So you like see her commitment to being a pilot and how much it's her identity, but not much after that or
Yeah.
before that I can remember, quite frankly.
Yeah. It seems like the whole Gorn thing like really sidelined her for a moment, and then now
Yeah,
we finally get a turn with how she feels about the Gorn. But I won't go deep into that. We'll start the review and talk about what notes that we have in regards to this episode.
yep. I will start with my first kind of editorial or critical note.
Hmm.
I because episode nines can be like big episodes in
Hmm.
modern television, right? I
Hmm.
thought when I saw the previews that this was an Ortegas centric episode, I
Hmm.
was like, "Oh, they're about to write her off," and I'm sad. So I came into this episode
Oh.
like pretty pensive, like what's gonna happen? I don't like I didn't know if they were gonna like for YouTube purposes unalive her or if she was just gonna like especially later in the episode where she
Hmm.
goes through the wormhole. I was like, oh, is she gonna get stuck on the other side of it or something like that? But this whole episode, I was on it a little bit about pins and needles for the character because I'm like, well, episode nine is when I think episode nine is when Hemmer got.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, I was a little bit concerned because she's one of the few characters that doesn't have to have a future after Strange New Worlds.
And not really talked about in Star Trek, the Star Trek pantheon. So it wasn't like this is something like we got to keep this person alive or anything. And that was one of the main things that we discussed earlier within the season. That the fact that certain characters live, it kind of takes away from some of the tenseness in certain areas where you think that they might not make it. But when you put a character that you don't know, that's when it's more stressful. And not
Yeah,
and
exactly.
and not just the fact like you don't know them, but you actually like the character. Like you love Nurse Gamble. You still think that he's still
Yeah,
alive.
he's good. He's fine.
I'm saying he's gone. He got.
He's good. He's good. You're wrong.
Okay. Okay. Still another 21 episodes left. All right.
I was about to say. When we review the last episode and he's not brought back, I'm gonna be like, all right, they probably got him. He's probably not coming back.
I'll be like, oh. So now you're conceding the fact that he's gone.
Pretty much. How hilarious will it be if in the last episode, like in the last 5 minutes, he just appears and he's like, finally fought my way out of the computer. What did I miss? I'd
I
be
would
like,
be so upset. I would be
I knew
so
it.
upset. I would be pissed. I really would. I would just be like, oh, this is how we're gonna bring him back at the very, very, very end, and not even an explanation as to how he got back.
Absolutely no context. He's just there. He's simply there just to tick you off and to make me make that point on that podcast.
I would be so upset.
Oh, it'd be hilarious. But I'm glad. Well, I was about to say spoiler alert. This is a review, but I'm glad it wasn't our last episode because I love Ortegas, and honestly, I think the proper send off for everyone on this show is going to be that they're different people but they're heading
Mm-hmm.
off to great Starfleet careers once they
That's kind
change
of
over. I see.
that's kind of how I would figure that it would end.
Yeah. So I hope that's the case. A lot of Star Trek series basically end that way.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we'll see what they do. I'm not. I think you know this about me. I'm not one of those fans. Like it got this kind of way watching the MCU, like around Endgame,
Mm-hmm.
where like the only stakes you can imagine is life or death. Like I think there's plenty of creative room in between just that one situation for even people with dangerous jobs like superheroes and Starfleet officers, where it's like, okay, you can create a lot of tension. This person might not be the same,
Mm-hmm.
like other ways to do it. And I appreciate it when it's more creative to do it that way. So I appreciate the creativity versus like it always being like, well, are they going to be alive or unalived at the end of this, right? So,
I agree with you on that. And one of my biggest things with that is like stakes can be anything. It doesn't necessarily have to be that the person gets unalived or not. It can be like the person loses an arm. It's not the same afterwards. It ends up getting scarred from that particular situation, which ends up affecting them like later on. Da 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 da. So, like for instance, like we all know how Pike is going to end at the end, like in season 5 at the end. Like we all know he's going to wind up in the beep chair. Spoiler alert for people who don't know that. as
I do want, yeah, go
as
ahead.
as people that haven't rewatched the original series, we know he's in the beep chair.
I would say you don't have to get many episodes into TOS
You
to
don't.
know that he's in a beef chair. And honestly, I don't think the series is gonna. I don't know why we're talking about the end of the series. I guess because we know it's going to end, and
Yeah,
I was
we know.
talking about Ortegas.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
um, honestly, I don't think they're gonna end him in the beef chair. I think we were just gonna leave. I think he's gonna get his promotion to fleet captain, and we know he's committed to the path of being on the beef chair. But I don't think we're gonna necessarily like get that scene like they either showed it. I think they showed it in Discovery, like a remake of the scene where
Mm-hmm.
he ends up in the beep chair. I don't think we're going to end with that. I think it's just going to be like April's going to be like, "Well, Chris, it's time to get you off the bridge," and Kirk's behind you, and it's like we all know what that means, but like we don't necessarily like have to do it, right? So
Well,
I don't know.
but
Or maybe they do it.
I
I don't
mean,
know.
but
Yeah, I could be
if I
totally wrong.
remember correctly, like yeah, he ends up becoming a fleet captain, but I don't think that's when he is relinquished command of Enterprise. Like I truly like from what I remember about that episode, I believe they said that he became like Kirk became the captain after Pike's accident. I could be mistaken. Granted, like I haven't rewatched that in whew,
Yeah,
years, probably like 30 years.
my memory is different than that. I thought Kirk got promoted to captain because Pike ended his 5 years because they stick to the 5 years
Mm-hmm.
thing, and then like
Mm-hmm.
the beep chair thing happens like relatively shortly after the 5 years end. So I could be wrong too, and I'm not going to look it
It's
up
possible.
because yeah,
I mean,
someone will correct us in the comments and call us dumb or whatever, but that's fine.
also we'll cross that bridge when we get there because we still have a rewatch of TOS that we have planned. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
and that's gonna happen
Um,
sooner rather than later. So, but let's go in.
exactly.
Let's go into the episode
So
9.
the recap is all Ortega's trauma.
Mm-hmm.
So we know that's what's going to get paid off. And to your point about this episode, Ortega makes a personal log. I, for the life of me, can't remember anything impactful about that log.
No,
She's just kind of talking about going on this mission.
no, she was just happy to be able to go on this mission, especially after dealing with her Gorn incident, and then finally being cleared fully to like do which you don't see a lot in Star Trek, a solo mission.
Right. Uh, do you think it was a little bit contrived how he got there? Well, let's talk about the next couple scenes, and then let me know if you think it was a little bit contrived on how we got
Okay.
to a solo mission. So she takes a piece of paper from behind her brother's picture. She makes a reference to her little brother. Um, for some reason, I don't really know what any of
So,
that was about.
ooh, so was that piece of paper like? Because later in the episode, she made a paper plane.
That was the paper plane piece of paper.
Okay, I was curious about that. Thank you for clearing that up.
So, so apparently she does take a piece of paper to do that on, I guess, certain missions. I'm not.
It's like her
I
good
didn't
luck
quite.
charm. That's
Yeah.
how I pegged it.
Okay. Um, so all I have in my notes is that there's like a weird gravity thing, and Ortegas
As.
is going in alone. Um, and so during that conversation is when I felt like it was a little bit contrived because they spent like a couple minutes and they actually clown Spock a little bit for not
Just
being able
going
to
in.
go. They're like, we have to cut this for weight, and we have it weighted down as much as that we can't bring one person along in case
Yeah,
something happens. I'm like, okay, all right, I get it, I guess.
yeah. You might be right on that. That it being a little contrived there, because it's like, wait, what? We're in space. Uh, I my aviation background was like, so when you said that, I was just like, oh wait, hold on, wait. Why didn't I like pick that up when I was watching the episode? So like, yeah, on Earth, like there's a weight limit to the aircraft, and you gotta like when you put people and stuff on board the plane, it has to be balanced in a way to where the center of gravity stays like exactly where the point that it should be from the specs of the plane. So
hmm
like that makes sense on Earth. In space though, maybe
Yeah, if
I
the gravity.
no, go ahead.
Go ahead. Yeah, if the gravity is so strong in space that you can't predict it, like it's just gonna crush the
Mm-hmm.
shuttlecraft like a little can. It's not gonna
Uh-huh.
make it crash downwards like it does on Earth where you just land on the ground. Like yeah, so I was like I it was techno babble and I was like okay she's going alone. I just had to like stop and not think about it because I was like because too I don't want to turn into and not that I clown these people every week but sci fanatics where I'm like
Mm-hmm.
trying to, you know,
Yeah.
estimate how the fictitious technology is. Like the Star Trek people said that they needed less weight, so I accept it, but I'm still just kind of like,
It's a
I think
contrived
we could.
reason to have her go on this mission solo, like basically.
Yeah,
When they could have really just made it to where it was a two-person mission and the other person was a red shirt, and he or she ended up dying as soon as they hit the planet. But like
yeah.
that's neither here nor there.
Oh, also,
Hmm.
I did remember one thing. I looked at my critical notes for a little bit behind the scenes audience. I have critical notes and I have the plot points. Who is Division 12?
Yes, so I have that. I have that in my notes too. When she said Division 12, and I was like, huh, it must be like a science division that is known for doing things like this. Because it is weird that they would have like, and they'll say this, we'll talk about this as a plot point later on, that they would have a vaccine on board the ship and then have to do a mission like this. Like
That
it,
also adds to the contrived nature of it. It's
yeah,
like, what?
yeah.
We got to
Um,
make a delivery
and
as
honestly,
well.
I will say that those two things did like drop the score for me because it was like y'all really like normally I do disband my belief a lot when watching shows and everything and like trying to like get into it, especially like shows that I really really love like Star Trek. But like this particular situation was just like writers, could y'all not think of anything else to create more tension within the episode or whatnot? Like I
It's
I I feel
yeah.
no, I would say I feel like the main tension that they could have used. Granted, you know what? I'll wait till we get there. I was gonna go off on a
Okay.
tangent. I'll wait till we get there.
Okay. And just for funsies, I googled Division 12 Star Trek, and like the top two results are Facebook results where people are like, "What is Division 12? Did Star Trek mention Division 12?" And then I'm not going to click in the Reddit, but someone said Division 12 Star Trek has an X Files division, so maybe it's an X Files reference. I didn't watch X Files,
That's
so
hilarious.
yeah. Okay, so no one has any idea what this is. Okay, I didn't know if it was me forgetting something again, but okay.
No, no, I
Um,
would have picked that up if like I mean unless they talked about it in TOS, but like I don't remember anything like that even in TOS. So it's yeah, I think they just pulled something out of their butts on this one. if I'm being
Yeah.
honest with you.
And to your point, this whole script could have used a second pass to kind
Yeah.
of punch some things up. Like I get maybe they don't want to like fall into every Star Trek trope like the unalived red shirt or the person one person gets beamed out but another person can't get beamed out, but I'm kind of like
Leave
just
heavy
coming
into
up
that
for a
shit.
reason.
What the fuck?
Also, that stuff kind of makes us happy when we see it, so like don't worry about it too much. But
Yeah.
all right, so she's got to go alone. That's the ultimate point of it. Ortegas and Uhura have a conversation on the way to her going, and I feel like that whole conversation was just establishing that they're friends, which is something we've known the whole
Okay.
time.
Okay.
I'm
Okay. So,
confused.
I will say one thing about this. I do feel like that they needed to have a scene like that to show how close they have got, especially
Mm,
with her dating her brother. So I
right.
do feel like that there was some closeness there because before this, and I was trying to like remember in the previous episodes, seasons, like was was Uhura really that close to Ortegas? Like throughout the whole episode and the way that she was reacting to what was going on, it was really like damn, like it's really seeming like that, like Ortega's is almost like her best friend. Uh,
I
which,
thought
uh-huh.
so. I don't think it was in previous seasons, but I do think it's a creature of this season or creation, excuse me, of this season that their friendship is extraordinarily close. But I thought they had already really established. I mean, the fact that last week Ortega's called her an idiot to her face, and they're still friends to me tells me that they're that
Well,
they're
yeah,
close friends.
I don't know how
So
many times
like,
we call each other idiots.
yeah, or to STF you for YouTube purposes, and no one ends up hating each other. Yeah, so that's what I mean. Like, I kind of like, I get what you're saying there, and I'll allow it. I'm not gonna let that ding the episode
That's
for
only
me.
because, like, okay, yes, it could be implied that oh, she's with her brother. Obviously, they gotten close. Like that, it is something that could be implied and probably doesn't need a scene like that to state that.
Yeah,
But like I said, both can be true.
yeah, absolutely. You know, the episode is like 56 minutes. I think some of the shorter ones are like 42 minutes. So it's the kind of thing that I kind of look out for, which is like, what are you doing with the space
This
that you're
episode was
given?
56 minutes.
Yeah, or at least that's what the runtime was through, like the end credits and
Wow,
all that stuff. So
really?
yeah, it didn't feel like 56 minutes. I
It
only noticed it
didn't.
because I was pausing a few times,
It felt
uh,
quick, actually.
which is actually a good thing, right? To
Yeah,
credit, like we're kind of on the writers right now, but you know,
yeah.
using the space well, which I was just saying, like it doesn't feel like it took a whole hour. So Ortegas takes off in the Archimedes, um, and a wormhole appears out of nowhere. That's inconvenient. My exact my exact editorial note when that happened was, "Uh oh."
Oh, so I
So,
do want to.
oh,
So
did I miss something?
I do want to point out certain things. So when
Okay.
she was taking off, she closed the blast shields, so no visual. She had zero visuals, so she had to use nothing but instruments. In the aviation world, we call that IFR. IFR versus BFR, visual flight rules versus instrument flight rules. So like we've seen this here and there within Star Trek, probably more so with newer Trek than with older Trek, which makes sense because there's going to be certain times where you go into a certain anomaly or a situation that like, oh no, this glass could break. So closing it made sense to me. But granted, I believe they also did this as another plot device for this wormhole situation.
Oh, really? Why do you think?
Well, I mean, granted, like they do say that the wormhole like popped up out of nowhere,
Yeah.
but when they were talking about her and what she was trying to do to like kind of like steer clear of it. I don't think she fully knew that it was a wormhole off bat. I could be mistaken. You might know that.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay,
And
because she couldn't see it.
yeah, and she said that like I'm flying to the eye of the storm. So, but like I said, I could be mistaken, and she did know, but I felt like I don't think she fully knew until like she was on the other side.
I mean, that is kind of how they write it. I think, if I'm
Hmm.
remembering correctly, like I feel like she doesn't. She's kind of disoriented. Um, at some point, she does say something about like I just went through a wormhole, so I
Yeah,
can't remember.
that was when she was
But
on the other
yeah,
side.
yeah, she was on the other side at that point. So I guess you know you're going through a wormhole when you're going through one. I don't know. I haven't
I
been
don't
through
know.
one yet. So
I don't know. I'll say something about this wormhole later, but keep going.
okay. Also, I feel like this about another part of the episode. I
Hmm.
also wondered if we're like maybe because we've had some really great episodes with
Hmm.
some really big action and stuff in it, and I'm like, is this the budget saver episode where it's like
I
close the blast
so
windows that
so
you don't have to.
I thought the same thing until later in the episode. So
Okay, got it.
that is a smart uh that is a smart thing to think of with this, but I don't think so.
Okay, because every once in a while you get an episode of Star Trek that's like a bottle episode where
Yeah,
everyone just talks to each other,
yeah.
and it's like, oh, okay. This is because we fought the Klingons in the last episode,
Or
and it was a giant space battle.
or the episodes is
Now,
done by flashbacks.
oh no,
The,
not that again.
yeah, yeah. Patrick, I
Oh no.
love those episodes. I'm being very facetious right now. I love
I was
those
gonna say you better be
episodes.
careful. This is the internet we're dealing with here.
Oh,
That moron loves Shades
I,
of Grey.
I will say that with it being 10 episodes a season, we don't get as many of those type of episodes, which is a good thing.
Short. Yeah, some people don't like the 10 episode thing, but I'm like, it cuts out a lot of filler.
It
Like, there's a lot
does.
of stuff we don't need to see these people doing.
It does. Unless your writers are the writers from Star Trek Picard, season 1 and 2.
Well, they just took all the filler that would have been in other series if they were too long and just put it in.
It was just season 1 and 2 was just all filler.
It was just all filler. God, I'll never forget that when we got to like episode 8 of Picard and he was still putting the team together, I was like, I
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
know how you're going to wrap this up.
I
We
feel
are
like
late.
putting the team together should have been like 2 episodes, and then season 3 we're getting the shenanigans. We shouldn't be adding more people by episode 8. Okay.
And they're all getting their own episode for like why
Hmm.
they're okay. Well, we'll do that some other time. Anywho,
Oh, that'll
or
be our Star Trek Picard rewatch when we finally get to that in 4 years.
yeah,
Patrick's immediately like, you know what? I will probably be off this earth by that time. I'm
no,
I'm starting
I
I'm
want to
starting to think I
live.
don't want to be here before
I
that.
want to live. I'm like I'm at an age where you should have more, still have a little bit more in front of you than behind you. So I want to live. I just might not do that. I might go off of memory at that point.
Damn it, Patrick, if I'm gonna have to do it, you're gonna have to do it, okay?
Yeah, boy, we might need to add a third person just to like rotate. Like,
We're probably gonna have
I'll
to.
watch an episode, the other person watch an episode. Like, yeah, we'll
Oh
fight
no,
our way
you're not
through
gonna
it.
have me watching every episode and you only watching every so often.
I'm just the co-host. I'm just the co-host. This is your show.
Dang it. I found a loophole.
Sure did.
Keep going.
All right, so Ortega is somewhere, um, and she crashes into a moon that's around something. I'm not a scientist. I think they called it a gas giant.
Yeah, it was a gas
It's a thing.
giant. It was a huge gas giant. And then it was smart that she did the little diagram. Like granted, like if it with it being just her, she didn't really have to like draw that. She could have just like thought about it and like got the
If
be like,
if
yeah,
she
this
didn't
is
say
uh huh.
if she didn't say all that math out loud and then just was like, "Oh, we're going in there," I think I would be a little confused. But
So,
I actually kind of appreciated that she
and that's where I
worked
was
it
getting
out
to.
out loud.
That's what I was getting to. Like, you normally wouldn't have something like that if there was a second person there, because it would have just been like like talking to each other. Like, hold up, that guy shot is pretty big, and looking at how we are relative to this giant, I don't think our orbit is like a normal circular orbit. I really think we're going to get closer to this giant, which is going to cause us to have some
That's
very
a
bad side effects.
that's a really good point because that could have been Spock,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Spock's not so OP as a character that there's like he's not there's just no problem when he's around. Like he just
Hmm.
would figure this out somehow. So he could have been in the situation with her and made the observation, and it would have been a conversation. Oh boy, this is starting to push
I mean,
the score downward.
that's true, but it would have it would have taken away from what happens later. I will say that.
We'll talk about it when we get there. Yeah,
Exactly.
I wanna explore that with you. So when she crashes, we one find out that all the rations got destroyed, which you know
Of
move.
course. Where?
What?
No. Where? Where are these rations
I know,
on the shuttle
right?
for them to get destroyed when crashing? Like,
When it crashes, like the number one thing that you might do in a survival situation is you might crash, and it's like, oh, the rations are destroyed. I'm like, does the shuttle need to be in perfect
you
condition for the
know,
rations store? Then
wouldn't
just
the
fly it home.
survival?
Like, how do you?
I would feel like the survival gear would be like close to where the black box is, like, because you know how like the black box
Exactly.
normally survives like all these like catastrophic issues, so we can like find out what the hell happened. I would
Yeah.
think that the like those rations, the survival gear would be in an area that it's like, hey, if this shuttle broke apart for whatever reason, they would still be able to have access to the survival gear.
You would think. This is where the script really started challenging me still because I'm just
Oh
like,
wow, this okay. I'm far. I'm sorry. You gave me more.
oh, okay. Yeah, and like the way she ends up in this situation, like I think when she starts interacting with the Gorn, obviously it like picks up. That's what they're trying to get to. But like the stuff that happens, I'm just like, man, this is like one of the unluckiest
Hmm.
days in Starfleet
Hmm.
history that doesn't involve you just straight up getting unalive.
And it's a big shuttle too. Like the set of that shuttle is actually bigger than most shuttles in TNG. So
Agreed.
like you would think that there would be multiple compartments and it wouldn't be just like one compartment. Oh, this is where the food
Yeah.
rations are. You think there would be multiple departments, right?
Apparently next to the gas tank when
Apparently.
it exploded.
Apparently. It's not gas. It's deuterium. The deuterium tanks. It's right next to that. when you have to jettison the deuterium tanks right before you make a crash landing, what were they also in that area and they got jettisoned too?
Yeah, and so much of the ship, to your point about the size of the set,
Mm-hmm.
survived that it's like,
Mm-hmm. It was kind of
how were the
unbelievable.
rations not in the glove compartment? Like
Yeah.
the front console seems fine. Okay, it's yeah, it. Yeah, I like that we're having this conversation because me and you don't get hung up on plot holes and
We
things like
don't.
that, but it's
We
just,
don't. We normally move past those. It's just like yeah. It's
but
just
there's a
a
limit. It like once they keep throwing them at you and you just have to keep accepting them. It's like okay, maybe
and then even her
maybe we need to
suit.
close a few of these.
Her suit. Wouldn't you think that like one pack of rations would be like in her survival suit that she had on? Like
Yeah, or some, yeah. Well, I mean, she gets creative. I mean, she goes full MacGyver
she
here
does.
and gets
She
some
does.
water.
One of the greatest things about this episode that I will say, and I put this in my notes, is that we get to see her survival skills and how
Oh, her
well she
survival skills. Yeah.
uses her survival skills. So
really, it is a highlight of the episode. This is why our scores are so back and forth, probably,
Yeah.
is that she does become more of a like she's been such a pilot that it's like, oh, you're a mathematician and
Mm-hmm.
you're an engineer as well. Like you have all these skills that she's never had to show
Mm-hmm.
in any other situation. In earlier episodes, they show that she has some hand-to-hand combat skills, and it's like, oh, you are kind of just a complete officer, not just flying the Enterprise expertly. Like
Oh,
you're
you
not one
you
note.
just don't do one thing and one thing only.
Yeah. Um, oh, there they go again.
Oh, you hear them? I was kind of hoping you
Yep.
didn't because I have my door closed, but
Oh, but I love them, so it's fine. They're just chiming in on the episode.
yeah,
So she makes water. She needs to find food. Wait, that didn't sound right.
hilarious.
She condenses water, and she needs to find food, which means she has to leave the ship. So she figures out she can leave the ship because there's enough breathable air. Then there's a staff meeting. The staff meeting happens like two or three times. This is
Oh yeah.
another issue I have with this script. The staff meeting is about really whether they need to mount a rescue mission based on what they all just saw.
Mm-hmm.
And it made me think of this is my editorial note on it. It made me think of the Starfleet as a Promise speech that he gave
Mm-hmm.
back in Discovery, and I was just like, yeah, Pike is the kind of guy. If you saw that episode and we're watching this, where it's like, yeah, he's gonna do everything he can
He's
to
gonna try to
get
find a
Ortega's
way.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's not the type that's going to leave one of his people only because it makes sense. And like, yeah, it
to
does
make
make
a delivery.
sense essentially, but like, but Una uh, like really lays it out later in one of the other many staff meetings that like where it was low, like 3,000, 4,000 people
Yeah,
versus one.
the
So
needs of the many versus the needs of the
yeah,
few. Yeah,
or the one.
or the one. I just teared up there. Um,
That should always make you tear up.
Absolutely. Um, so we have the staff meeting, and we kind of decide to rescue. At this point in the episode,
Mm-hmm.
I wrote "prepared to take the ship in?" Question mark. I guess I've watched too much Star Trek. The very first thing I thought was like, okay, we gotta get the ship ready to go in to go after it, right? Like if I was in that staff meeting, that's what I would have said.
No captain in a right mind would want to take a ship with what 200 people, I believe, 200 some odd people on board to go after one person if they didn't know that it would be feasible to do so. So I didn't think at this point that they would do that. But however, it was weird to me that Uhura was like pushing hard to save Erica.
Yeah, what was the outcome of that meeting? Now that I think about it, because there is one meeting where he's like, "If you can come up with a rescue plan, we'll do it." And I can't remember if that was the first or second staff meeting.
Yeah, because they do kind of like blur together, don't they?
Yeah,
I think from this one
because
he was just saying like we'll stay here for as long as we can, uh, and try to find a way to save her. Let's see if we can find like a way to communicate with her or like see what's on the other side of that wormhole. I think that's
yeah,
all that came from this particular mission. I mean, this
I think that's
particular
why it made.
staff meeting. I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry, I cut you off. I think that's why I had that particular thought right then, because I'm with you. I'm like, you don't want to put everybody at risk if really what's happened is just a tragedy. That
Mm-hmm.
makes total sense. I think because he makes the decision that we're going to stay and attempt to rescue, I think that's what made me jump to it. Like, I guess I was
Uh
like, I
huh.
was already in
Gotcha.
rescue mode, and I was like, okay, well, if we're going to rescue her, then let's do this thing right, the Starfleet way, and get the whole ship ready to go in, because we did
Yeah.
that in Discovery, and we did it in TOS,
Yeah.
and all that, but nobody says that, so, or at least not yet.
Well,
Um,
we know that like what happens later on, but at least right now they're talking about like trying to find at least their biggest thing at this point was to find out if she was still alive or not because they didn't even know that part of it.
okay, that's where I get confused then. Because I thought we left the meeting on a rescue mission,
Hmm.
which is why I was thinking about taking the whole ship in. But really, they were still assessing whether to do a rescue mission, which is why they went to like try to communicate, try to send in probes
Yeah,
route.
Because
Okay.
I'm not taking my ship into an anomaly that I don't know whether it's going to destroy the this ship or not, and not fully know that who I'm going after is still alive or not.
Oh, of course. You'd be insane.
Exactly.
Okay. So my note here is staff meeting on whether they need to make a rescue mission. So I must have misinterpreted that, or the script wasn't clearer. I'm not sure. I hadn't been drinking yet,
I mean, but
so it
granted,
wasn't
like
that.
it was the beginning portions of getting to that point where they were going to rescue her.
And that's the thing. It's an ongoing conversation on whether they're going to
Mm-hmm.
rescue her during the episode. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, at some point, like we're doing it, right?
Yeah,
Or we're
yeah,
not, right?
yeah.
I don't know. It didn't sit well with me. So,
It was almost
uh,
like to you, what are we doing here? Like, obviously, we want
yeah,
to go after her. Like, let's just get to it.
yeah. And we're on a ticking clock, which, by the way, I think the writers, just like in the episode that shall not be named, don't use the ticking clock um, plot device well. Again, I think that's just a weakness in Strange New Worlds because there's two ticking clocks on the episode, and neither of them feel
Yeah,
like they have any stakes to them. So,
yeah, and I really felt like that they only needed one ticking clock, really. But
yeah,
granted, like each ticking clock was a plot device to um, spur forward something with another character. Like for instance, like the wormhole shrinking.
yeah.
That
Oh, three ticking clocks. Never mind. I missed one.
what was the third? What was the other ones you had? So the wormhole
The first ticking
shrinking.
clock
Uh
the first ticking clock is the vaccine. We gotta
huh.
leave
Vaccine.
here and make an Uber delivery of a vaccine. The second one that you just reminded me of is the
The
wormhole
wormhole
shrinking.
shrinking. Uh huh.
The third one, when we finally decide to go in, is the Enterprise could explode if it's in the wormhole for too long.
See, that's the crazy thing. I don't count that as more of a ticking clock. It should. It is. It is. I will concede that. In my head, I guess I don't look at it as such.
Well, I think it should have been because the ship
Yeah.
doesn't even go to red alert to do this. Like, I didn't feel like the ship was going to
Oh, that
explode at
is
all.
another. Oh, really good point, Patrick. Really good
Yeah.
point.
So are we in danger or no? Like, what have we been talking about this whole episode? Is it too dangerous to go do this or not? And then when we go do it, it's like, do
Okay,
we even have the shields up? Like,
so at this point,
I'm
at this
confused.
point in our review, it's coming off like definitely that we didn't like the two of us didn't fully love this episode. I do want to point out that we both said this offline that it definitely is not the worst by far.
No, no, no. It's not the
Uh,
worst by far. It just has issues.
so I do want to point that out. But there are a lot of inconsistencies within this episode that is just like, huh? What?
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, we're both pointing things out that the other didn't pay attention to.
Yeah. And this is beyond plot holes. Like, we're not even talking plot holes anymore. This is just like,
Yeah,
well, you said this would be the thing if we did it. And then when we went to do it, it wasn't really, it didn't materialize like you
yeah.
said it would. So for me to get into the reason why it
Oh,
should have been a ticking clock. Hmm.
oh, a fourth ticking clock.
Okay.
Uh, with Ortega's being on the planet, and the fact that like he's going close to that stellar gas giant.
That is a fourth ticking clock. You're right. There's a countdown to the gas giant that she did all the math for.
Yeah,
Boy, so they took their mistakes from the episode that shall not be named, and instead of being like, let's write one ticking clock scenario extremely well, screw that. We're gonna throw like four or five of them at you at the same time. Maybe that
I,
will fix it. And it's like, I will tell you, writers, it did not fix it.
I really truly feel like the only ticking clock that they should have had on this was the wormhole shrinking.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that should have been the only ticking clock that they should have had, and there shouldn't have been this not whole like, oh, we gotta go to such and such to handle this vaccine, to hand off this vaccine that any ship could have done,
Because I
but the
because I had
flagship of
the
the
uh
Enterprise needs to
I had the
go.
exact same thought. I had the exact same thought. I was also like, it's just vaccine, right? So can't you put it on one of the other shuttlecrafts and just go have it Rendezvous, if we're really the only people left, like, why do we all have to go leave to deliver the vaccine? Like, do we have to go through Klingon space to do it? Like,
And
what?
see, this is what TNG and even DS9 probably would have done differently on the writers would have done differently on this because they would have made it to where, oh, this vaccine is a special type of vaccine. It has to be handled a certain way, and even that, like Doctor Shaft wasn't even in this episode. So I would have thought that Dr. Shaft would have been one of the people that you would have wanted to like talk about this particular vaccine and be like, yeah, it's stored in sick bay and it has to be set at this particular
Mm-hmm.
temperature. Apparently, no shuttlecraft could be able to transport this because of like how regulated the temperature needs to be, or it will like destroy this vaccine or whatnot. So, like, I feel like TNG did that better.
Yeah. We definitely needed a reason for why it needs to be us and all of us, and
Exactly.
also why. And shout out to Captain Decker, a Captain Decker reference, and why Captain Decker just can't come to us. Like, how far away are we that he
Yeah.
can't just speed up a bit
Yeah.
and like change the rendezvous point or get all the way here? Like, it was the ticking clock on the vaccine was definitely just like strange. That
We could have did
but
without
that's
it.
the thing. Yeah, I'm calling it out as a weakness for this writing staff.
Yeah.
Like, we've had two episodes with a ticking clock as the main plot device, and not just something that was building urgency in the episode, and it just hasn't worked. Like,
Well,
maybe in four and five they can get it right, but they need to maybe let that go.
I will point out something later that I said in the previous episode uh, about this, but let's keep going so we can
Yeah.
get to like
So
the biggest plot points. I would say.
yeah. So there's an earthquake while she's looking for food. I think that's
Mm-hmm.
when she first starts to feel like somebody's
Mm-hmm.
watching her. She sees the wormhole and says and knows that it's the way home. My I want to call out Paramount Plus. Your app is crappy, and it like skipped a line of dialogue that I could not rewind and get it to play. So whatever she said there is lost to me forever. So I don't know if it was important
I mean, you can go
or
back
not.
and rewatch the episode at some point. So I mean,
It
it's
skipped it
not
like
lost.
three times.
It's not lost
I
forever. I mean, you could try it tomorrow and see if you're able to get that one line. No.
as you point out, we have lives. I got stuff to do tomorrow, and you do too.
We both do.
So, no, I'm not doing that. Make your app work the time that I want to watch my entertainment. That is
Oh
your
my
job.
goodness.
So she does the math, realizes the moon is going to go through some toxicity that is not going to be too good for her, but she
Mm-hmm.
could write it out in the shuttlecraft. And then she sees someone is living on the moon, which is cool. Maybe
I
it's
was like,
helpful.
okay, great. So I did immediately think in this episode. You remember the episode in TNG where Geordi was trapped on the planet and he
Yeah.
came across the Romulan dude and they had to like work with one another to be able to get off the planet.
Mm-hmm.
That was immediately what I thought about once we got to this point in the show in this
Yeah.
episode.
And it's a pretty common sci-fi trope. The sci fanatics, who I don't always try to criticize, but in their preview of the episode, pointed out that there's also another movie, and I can't remember the name of it, but it's like a
Mm-hmm.
big '80s film that has this exact same plot: two enemies getting together, have to work with each other to find their way out. It's like Battleship Mine or something like that.
Something like
Someone will
that.
know. Um, so this goes back to what I was saying earlier about the first conversation. I didn't even realize I wrote this note the way I wrote it, but it
No worries.
says still verbatim, still debating on whether they need to stay. And I don't remember this conversation.
They do this a lot within this episode, like keep going back and forth, and like we know they're not going to leave, so why even have this conversation? That could have been
Why
something
have
that
this
was cut.
conversation?
Like you just said that what this episode was what 58 minutes long.
Yeah, 56 minutes. Yeah.
56 minutes long, so it's like that could have been a cut scene to like lessen this by like 2 or 3 minutes.
Yeah, yeah. So it's by the way, oh, I forgot to mention this. When you mentioned Dr. Shaft's not in the episode, I'm like, well, that's another budget saving. Pelly is not in the
That's true.
episode. Scotty's
Pelly
not
is
in the
not
episode.
Scotty. Yeah.
So we are. This is the low budget episode. So I guess that probably means episode 10 is going to be
Yeah,
lit.
but yeah, but the CGI to show the gas giant like that wasn't cheap. Like
Couldn't have been. Couldn't have been.
so like that's what I was saying. Like yeah, there were other things that happened within the episode that like made me not think that they wouldn't be
Let me.
cheaping out here.
Yeah, okay. Let me say. I don't think they do any episode of Strange New Worlds on the cheap. I think I'm
Oh
going
yeah,
too
yeah, yeah,
extreme on my language.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
think it has less budget than the other
It
episodes.
could have been one of those things where they had a budget for the whole season, and it's just like, okay, here, like we don't want to be cheap, but we kind of need to like lessen how much we spend on this particular episode. So
Yeah, we want like a big opening during the Gorn fight where we're between two suns and all that stuff. And then
mm,
there's been other battles that we've seen that, had to be hideously expensive. So at some point, one episode's got to take a hit. And they're kind of like, because we gave like, what, episode 7 and 8, like 10s, I think. And they're kind of like, or no, not 7 and 8. 6 and 7, I think, were like 10s. 8 was, just good,
uh,
4.5 Vulcans. And then it's like, okay, we're going to step down one more time, and then 10 is going to be
yeah,
like,
yeah, I gave 7 a 10. I gave 8 a 9.5. So like yeah, as close to 10 as possible. So
yeah. So I do wonder if like like we're talking about here, like you just said, like if you're pacing out budget, and it's like, do I need to have maximum impact on episode 9, or can I get away with just a little bit of entertainment
well, but
only?
the crazy thing is, I've seen very low budget episodes in previous Star Treks that were like freaking awesome.
Well, I think this is where the script has issues.
Exactly.
I think if the script issues were fixed, we probably would not have even noticed a bunch of like, oh yeah, this was kind of low. They closed the blast doors and things like that. But
Yeah,
the
we
when the
could have just made
script,
this a court episode.
oh really?
Well, I'm saying
oh,
they could have just had a court episode here. That would have been cheap.
I thought you meant for us. But okay,
No, no,
yeah,
no,
yeah, I
no,
could have
no.
made it a court episode. Have the captain litigate again as opposed to finding a real
Yeah,
lawyer.
and it could have been still centric on Ortega's and like something that she did and she learned from it. Da 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 da. But like, okay, at this point I am realized that I'm being way too critical of this episode.
It still doesn't mean we didn't like it. So
Yeah,
I think our scores will still reflect. At least my score is probably still going to reflect an episode I liked. But yeah,
yeah,
I mean it's got issues. The neighbor is a Gorn. So there you
yeah.
go.
I have in my notes. Uh, the Gorn saved Erica? Question mark.
We're going to get to that. We're not quite to that point yet. Um, let's see. Oh, what I had written here was now it's like that Toss episode. And I also, where Kirk fights the
Mm,
Gorn.
mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
was like, oh, okay, that's pretty cool. And then my other question was, did they explain why she didn't have a phaser? And I missed
No,
it?
no, they didn't. However, okay, I will allow this one because the
Okay.
type of mission that she was going on didn't require her to have weaponry, like because it was just purely a science-based mission. It wasn't like she's going to a planet that she didn't know anything about. All she was doing was flying around a nebula and then coming back. Plus, they also made the whole we want to lessen the amount of weight on the ship too. So I would imagine like they took off everything that wasn't really truly essential off the craft.
Okay.
Or
I
or I mean the rations got destroyed in the
The rations
crash.
blew up.
The weapons could have got destroyed in the
The
crash too.
phasers were right next to the rations, which is right next to the deuterium.
Oh,
Absolutely.
when she crash landed, the phasers accidentally went off, which is what destroyed the rations that were next to the phasers,
That would have been amazing.
which
Like,
also
huh.
destroyed the batteries within the phasers. So now they don't work. So
Yeah. So I think you're correct that that's what they were trying to do. I wish earlier in the season they hadn't put in a line that Ortega says herself, which is, we don't know what we're going to run into. That's why we bring the guns with us. And it's like,
She did say that.
she
You're
did.
right.
And then,
But
like,
like,
she doesn't.
but granted, they were going on a planet though.
That's true. So, like, I think it still works. I think it still works. I think it's just, this whole script is just hanging on by a thread.
It
Just
is. It
from
is.
beginning to end. So, I think it's, oh, okay. So, a little bit behind the scenes. I was telling Dante here that in the NFL, I feel like I have a theory where, like, once you get like 6 or 7 penalties, the refs are just going to keep throwing flags no matter
Yeah.
what, and you get
Oh,
no
that's a
benefit of the
good
doubt.
point. Oh, really good
I,
point.
I think that's what's happening here. It's like once I start getting on the script, we
Once
got
we
enough
start picking
violations
out
here.
like a multitude of like inconsistencies, we start picking out all the inconsistencies.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So we might be just be going full tilt here because, like you said, this is an episode we hate, but it's we're seeing everything now because we're looking for it. But it fully backs up what I'm saying about the refs. So hopefully,
Hmm.
people will see that's what it is. Wormhole is shrinking, and man, I don't remember this. There's another staff meeting.
Yeah, there were about 3 staff meetings talking about how uh, 3 or 4 to talk about like us saving Ortegas. Like I truly feel like in like TNG, Deep Space Nine, hell, even Voyager would have been like one staff meeting. This is what we're gonna do. Let's carry it out. And then when stuff like happens that like kind of derails it, then they just talk amongst each other on the bridge. I don't
Yeah, which
understand
they
why.
have this conversation on the bridge too. There's a bridge
Huh?
conversation on this topic.
So I don't understand why we have to have like multiple staff meetings just to figure out what we're going to do in this situation. Like I get it. Like the that room is supposed to be like where you're able to exchange ideas and stuff. But like hell, even just me thinking about like what I do for a living, going like with my team and all that. We don't have staff meetings all the darn time. We have an initial staff meeting to talk about the situation, and then as we're in the situation and we figure out probably like roadblocks that come across, we'll have one-off conversations. We don't have to have another staff meeting to talk about this issue.
That is so true.
It's a waste of everybody's time.
Yeah, I think that's why my brain can't totally process the details and remember it because I'm like, it's like we've decided that we're going to try to save her if we can confirm that she's out there. So let's just
Mm-hmm.
have all like you said, all subsequent meetings, not to just repeat your point, are just about that. Not, well, these 4,000 colonists
Mm-hmm.
need this vaccine. I guess RFK is not on that colony.
Oh no,
Sorry, I didn't mean to get
no,
political there.
no.
Sorry, I
No
didn't mean to get
vaccines.
political.
No vaccines.
Yeah. So yeah, all I have is that there's a staff meeting. Uhura is pushing. Uh, okay,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like this gets paid off in the episode, so I'm kind of raising it as a criticism, kind of not. And you kind of alluded to it
The
earlier. I
funny
don't
thing is,
feel like,
I have my finger over the there are 4 lights button. I thought you was
oh no, no, no,
gonna.
this isn't it yet. This isn't it yet. This is related to what we were just saying. I don't feel like Uhura needs to push if everyone's like, yes, we're doing everything we can and we're not going to leave till the very last minute. Like, her
You
pushing this episode,
okay?
like, I got it, but like,
You know me. I love the Uhura character. Like,
mm-hmm.
not just because it's a legacy character from TOS. Like, I love this actress and her portrayal of Uhura. This episode was my least favorite of her portrayal of Uhura because
I would agree.
the writers just had her lean so heavy into this whole we need to save her. 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 I get it. We need to save her. Look, we're
And
trying to save her.
and to your point, no one's really arguing against that. Not even Una, who's
Exactly.
like reminding everyone, like, yeah, we gotta make this Uber Eats run and deliver this vaccine.
Una is
Like,
Una is doing her executive officer duty in this area. Her job is to remind the captain of another pivotal mission that is also on their docket. And us continually to do this could put that other mission into jeopardy, which could also cause lives. So I never had an issue with Una pointing
No,
this
no.
out through the episode. But Uhura's reaction every time to it made it seem like Una said, let's get the hell out of here, F Ortegas. Like, she
No, some of
never
her
said that.
exactly. Some of her reactions are like Una just said she's going to go down and unalive Ortegas herself.
Yeah.
Is that how her responded at times? And I'm like, this is not necessary. Like, we're not leaving. Like, we're working on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
even Captain Pike in one of the mini staff missions had to like point that out to her, like, look, I'm not gonna leave her stranded.
yeah.
Like
I mean, credit to
we're gonna try to like save her as much as we can, but like we do have another duty. And
yeah.
I get them pointing that out. Like um, that is a big thing when it comes to Starfleet. Of like there is other things that like the ship doesn't have just one mission a lot of times. There could be multiple missions because they're in the sector or that area where these missions need to be carried out. And there has to be prioritization there. So I get that. It's just like we didn't need Uhura to continually like, no, we can't leave Erica, we can't leave Erica. Almost like they were best friends or even to that point lovers. Like, that's the way that they made it
Now if
seem.
that's an episode next week, I am tuning in. Let me tell you.
I'm not gonna say anything off of that, but but it's like I get it. You are dating or involved or situational shit. What are they? Did they ever state that they were like boyfriend girlfriend or
They're
like?
dating. They're dating. I think they're on the path to exclusivity. Yeah, they're
Yeah,
not in a frustrating situationship like Lon and Spock. They're trying to see if there's some there.
yeah. So like I get it. You are romantically involved with her brother, and losing her could be like detrimental not only to your relationship but also to your relationship not only to your relationship with Beto but like also to um just like how she feels like it would be a major loss to her. I get that, but the way that she was like going about it, I just didn't like it. And you're gonna point out other things that she does during this episode that I
Yeah,
just didn't
yeah.
like.
The way, and this is my way of agreeing with you. This is the first episode where I kind of feel like they show a character not exercising good judgment
Yes, yes,
because of their emotions,
yes,
and then there's no consequences, there's no
yes.
lesson. So I'm just supposed to believe that Uhura is just gets emotional in a way that we don't see her do in any other appearance
I
because
would
it
ag-
happened to Ortegas.
I would agree with that, but I will once we get to that spot of what like Captain Pike talking to her about that, I will point out something on that. So
Okay, yeah, I think that's gonna be a big. Yeah, we probably need to hurry up and get there. That's probably gonna be a big conversation. And before anyone hops in the chat and is like, she's an ensign. Okay, I guess she's an ensign, but she's also been highly effective and, and
hammer,
rational in
hammer
every other
her,
situation.
not protege, her mentor.
Mentor.
Like
Yeah.
he he passed away on a mission. Like so
Yeah.
she's had situations like and like it wasn't like this is like one of her first major missions. She's had multiple situations of stuff like this occurring, and she knows how Captain Pike is going to react here. Like,
Yeah.
have you ever seen Captain Pike leave anyone behind? No.
Yeah. He should have just played her the audio from the Star Trek as a promise speech.
Hilarious.
Like, Ensign, watch this episode of Discovery
Your
and tell me if I'm going to leave.
your homework is to watch this. And then
Yeah,
I
exactly.
need a 10-page paper on this on this speech.
Yeah, so her is acting weird this episode. And we won't belabor it because I know you want me to move on, but I get it. Like, if me and you or me and my other friends were on a ship and you were the one in danger and there was a chance we weren't going to make a rescue, like, of course I'm going to the mat. But once everyone says to me, like, yeah, we're going to make a rescue attempt, then I'm just focused on the rescue attempt. Like, I
Exactly.
don't feel like I need to relitigate it. Like,
Like
so,
like
anywho.
and I get it. Like if me or like our group of friends that we grew up with and whatnot, we're all on the same ship and one of them gets lost, like yeah, we have an emotional, a deep emotional attachment there to try to save said person. But if it but I'm looking at this as like uh your coworkers at work. These are not people, at least from what we know, from what they have said, Ahura and Ortega's never were like true friends before Ahura came to the Enterprise. So like her
Oh, that's a good point.
her friendship and everything that has like grown came from since she's been there. And like granted, like yeah, over time you do like have connections with
They
people.
clearly hang out and are
Yeah,
like their go-to buddies and things
and
like that.
they do, and it would suck that that person's not there anymore. 100%. Like I've had a multitude of coworkers that were just like we clicked instantly, and it's up when they left or I left to an area and I didn't have that person anymore. So like
Right.
I do get that part of it. However, I wouldn't strongly keep pushing up against my captain and first officer.
Especially after
Essentially,
they both have already said yes
yes. And
to what
essentially, in
we're
this
doing.
area, with what we do, like my manager and my assistant manager or supervisor, that we should do this. It's like, especially if they've already said, "Oh yeah, we're definitely gonna try to save her."
Yeah, it was a strange characterization for
It
her in
was.
this one, so we'll see. Well, but we're to the point that you referenced earlier, where the Gorn, she discovers it's a Gorn. She's hiding from the Gorn,
Mm-hmm.
and the Gorn doesn't just immediately unalive her. In fact, it saves her
It
life
saves her life.
uh,
I was like,
right off the
wow.
bat. Yeah, I was like, oh, interesting. So I guess it's good she didn't have the phaser to just
Mm-hmm.
cap her.
The funny thing with this particular scene is that, yeah, the Gorn saved her life and everything, and then like she goes to, uh, well, not they're already at the Gorn's camp or whatnot, but the Gorn like takes that centipede that came out of the ground and just like pretty much just rips it open. And then just starts like chowing down on it. It's just like, here's some food from this
Throws her
ripped
some food,
open
and that's
centipede.
gross.
And she tries to eat the thing without cooking it. I was like, screw that. I would just like put that thing in my pack, went back to the shuttle, and be like, I'm cooking this at the shuttle.
I may have missed something, but are we to the point where the shuttle had?
No, no, not yet, not yet, not yet.
Oh, okay,
So like, but in
that's a
this
good point.
in this particular thing, I put in my notes like would have took the quote unquote food back to the shuttle to try and cook it. I would not have tried to like eat that straight raw because we all know eating anything raw, like 9 times out of 10, is going to lead to some type of poisoning.
Yeah, I mean, you're really hoping that things work out. I think, and again, oh, a fifth ticking clock. I think maybe because I couldn't keep up with how long this all was taking.
Mm-hmm.
I think Spock says something about 46 hours before then, so maybe she's been gone for like a couple days.
Oh, I'd be
So she
sad.
might be at the point of like starvation or getting close to it. Because I think most people can only go 4 days without food, and I
Yes.
imagine by the second day you're not feeling good and can't. So if I'm remembering that correctly, but actually the whole thing feels like an hour, right? Like I don't really understand the passage of time in the episode,
Yeah,
which
they
when
don't
you
do a
use
good job of showing that. And they could have had like they could have had certain things like oh the that how the planet is like get in the orbit of that gas giant. Like they could have had it to where she like created some like calculations and like estimated, oh, I got about like this amount of time before this gas giant gets close enough to where it could kill me.
the ticking clock, it is a strange new world. It's their kryptonite. Every time they try to do it, it does not. It doesn't work.
I don't think the writers know how to do a ticking clock episode correctly.
Yeah, which is funny because me and you, like, we don't even like. I don't write fiction. I write a bunch of stuff, but I don't write fiction.
Hmm.
And I'm not sure what writing you might do outside of like, your personal life or whatever. But like, we're both giving them pointers on how to do this ticking clock correctly, just from what we've seen. So I'm like, I don't know why they struggle with this so
Yeah,
much.
but the crazy thing with this is like, yeah, you're an author and you've like written books and stuff. Like, but granted, like you haven't written fiction, and same thing with me. I haven't written fiction, nor but I am not an author. I do want to point that out. I am not an author, but um, at the
You
same
can
time,
if you want to be.
I'm sure I could, but that's just not my.
Okay, as long as you're not being down on yourself.
No, no, I'm not being down on myself, not at all.
Okay.
Um, but what we're doing is just drawing from previous Star Trek episodes that we've already watched growing up. And we're just drawing from like those episodes and how they could have like done things that made sense within the Star Trek universe to have like
Like
a great ticking clock episode. Uh huh.
like yesterday's Enterprise.
Yeah.
Klingons are coming. Klingons are coming. Klingons are,
Yeah.
oh, they're here. Now we have to fight it out, and we get a great speech out of that one too.
Yeah.
Like we just have seen Star Trek do, to your point, the ticking clock so many times so well that like in one of its best series, it's like it's weird that you guys can't get this right.
It's very weird because y'all have so much to draw from. Like if
Yeah.
we, I would not have been mad if they used another episode from one of the previous Star Treks that was great and like almost used it verbatim.
Yeah.
Like
Uh,
I wouldn't have been upset with that.
yeah. What was the episode? I can't remember the title of it, but I
Uh huh.
remember the plot where the Enterprise D kept blowing up over and over again because the Bozeman kept hitting the nacelle. Do you remember the name of that episode?
Yeah, yeah.
Cause and Effect, maybe?
For some reason, I kept saying yesterday's Enterprise, but that definitely is not yesterday's Enterprise.
No, no. Yesterday's
Um,
Enterprise is a ticking clock episode
it
because
is
the
a tick
Klingons are
clock
coming.
episode. Yeah, but that was the one where
I think it might have been Cause and
old
Effect.
boy that played Beast was the captain.
Kelsey Grammer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Kelsey. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Great ticking clock. They run the ticking clock like 10 times that episode.
But that was like that
And they
was some
run it
good
down
use of
each
it because
time. It's
it's
really good.
you're caught in a cycle like a Groundhog Day cycle over and over and over. Except you don't remember stuff fully from each time, and then it gets to a point where they're like getting premonitions and stuff. But the way that they did it was perfect. That's one of my favorite episodes of Star Trek.
Yeah, yeah. So it's just so weird that Strange New Worlds can't get it right. It's like, to your point, just copy paste from something else
You
just to
know?
get you a good one, good ticking clock episode in. The next note I have is rescue mission is not looking good. I guess this is where I don't know, like a lot of the enterprise based conversations blend together. So I'm not sure why I wrote that.
Mm-hmm.
Then I wrote the Gorn gives her food. Um, oh, actually, doesn't she take the food and start to go back to the shuttlecraft? And
No,
that's
no,
when the
no.
shuttlecraft.
She immediately takes the food and tries to eat it, and then she's just like, "Oh, this is awful," and she like throw either almost throws up or does throw up or whatnot.
I think she comes close to throwing up,
Yeah.
but she keeps it down because she's trying to live. I think at this point, I think they're trying.
Yes.
They don't explain the timing and how long things have been going on at this point, but I think she has to eat right now to live,
Yeah.
and so she just does it.
Oh, and that episode of TNG was called Cause and Effect.
Cause and effect. Okay, so I did get to it. Yeah,
Yeah.
great ticking clock episode. Um, she sees the twinkling light again. I think when the shuttle crashes, and that's when she's really like, okay, why is this thing here at every plot point?
Yeah.
The Gorn saves or take us again. I feel like I'm missing stuff, but okay,
It doesn't matter.
you'll fill me in.
It doesn't
Okay,
matter. I mean, I hate to be like that, but like,
that's where we are with this script. There's a lot of stuff that doesn't matter
it
in this
doesn't.
episode.
It
And
doesn't.
so,
Like, it made when you told me that it was 56 minutes long. I was just like, this is 56 minutes long. How? Like, there wasn't.
yeah, because
And we pointed this out offline, so I do want to make a point of like saying this during the cast. Like, this was like, oh man, I immediately forgot what I was about to say. Like it
Oh,
was
this was.
it was 56 minutes long, and it's like it didn't necessarily have to be this long. There was no B plot to
Exactly, that's what you
this
said. There was
story.
no B plot, no C. Like last week, there were so many plots going on that we talked for like 3 hours about
Exactly.
like 50 minutes of television, or maybe like 54 minutes of television. So like, because it's like, well, this happened. Like every scene had something to do, and this time we ended up with like the same scene like 5 times.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the Gorn saves Ortegas again. At some okay. Oh, okay. This is where they finally hatch the plan. Okay, this is where they
Mm-hmm.
finally hatch the plan that they have to take the Enterprise into or through the wormhole to go get Ortegas because
Yes.
they can't figure it out with more probes and all that stuff.
And once again, Ahura
Pike,
does something that's uncharacteristic.
yeah, Pike is like, we need censor something technobabble at least 60%. She's looking at the pad and it's 56%. First off, her is a terrible liar.
Oh, 100%.
Because he asked that question, she goes, and then looks at the pad, and then looks at him, I think, and then looks back down at the pad, and then just like can she, does she not know? Like it's almost like Cat Williams. Does she not know you?
I can see
He can
you.
see you
I can.
moving this
That's
thing.
exactly what I was thinking. Oh, that is great. That is great that we both had that same reaction at that. I can see you.
I can see you.
Even Spock. Spock is literally like right behind her and could see her pad. And I'm surprised Spock didn't say anything like, Captain, she just changed the, she just overrid the
I know,
data
right?
to 61%. Like, oh, I, another, okay. Let me be fair. Let me be fair. Because at this point, we are ripping this episode to shreds. So I do want to be fair. Um, I understand what they were trying to do. They were trying to also push the Uhura character to do something like that would be outside of her norm because she's always been like a by the book type character. So this is the one time where she didn't go by the book and wanted to like manipulate things because she didn't want her friend Erica to be unalived. So like I get that point, but there once again we come back to that same thing about the writers, like how this could have been set up differently. The best way for you to set this up would have been for Captain Pike to have been on the bridge. Uhura to have been in that science lab along with Spock. Spock's on the other side of the science lab, and Pike pretty much just like taps in like, okay, where are we at with the plan? And she's going through it and everything, da 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 da, blah, 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 but we have an unorthodox thing to do. We have to like take the Enterprise in, da da da. And then he says back, well, we want to be within 60% of whatever technical battle they spouted out. And then that's when you see her override the data. So it's like
Right.
Captain Pike's not in front of you. Spock is on the other side of the room. So you she it makes more sense in that way for her to say, yeah, it's above 60%. Here's the data. Shoot, and then send it to him and it's like 61%. So
Yeah. I think for me, if you're gonna make Uhura do this, she has to learn some lesson.
she does.
She either needs to face consequences or face a leadership lesson or something like that. Like the payoff for this is that Pike knew it the whole time because of course he watched her do it. Like so, of course he knew the
Mm-hmm.
whole time that it was not exactly 60% and decided to take the risk. I feel like there needed to be some follow-on conversation of like, Ensign, you have to trust your captain. If you're going to advocate that 56% is enough, then advocate and be confident in this. Don't try to skirt around me by, you know, turning up the volume on your iPad or whatever that
Patrick,
was.
here's
Like,
the crazy thing with that. Una did this to Ortegas earlier within the season. when
exactly.
when she didn't follow an order or did something that was supposed to be outside of what they were supposed to be doing. And Una came down on her, which is what you're
Yeah,
supposed to do in a leadership position, regardless of how much you like that person or not. You still need to come down on him to let them know, like, I'm disappointed in what you just did. Uh,
yeah.
I want
Well, let's.
this is a sign of trust. You should be able to trust your crew members, and I'll get off my soapbox on that.
Well, we're gonna get to it because it hasn't happened yet. We're talking about a future plot point. So,
Yeah,
and I know we've been at it for probably an hour and a half or so. So, like, I wanna help you help us move it along because we're gonna have this conversation. Like,
yeah, and t
like,
minus 5 seconds. Yeah,
yeah, exactly. Um, yeah, the way I wrote this is, well, her lies to Pike and risk everyone. So, because that's essentially
mm-hmm.
what you're doing for no reason. Okay, so side note for anyone, just to timestamp the episode, Derrick Henry is really laying into the Buffalo Bills right now. He is
Oh, you're
having a
watching the
night
game.
so far. Absolutely.
Yeah, I figured
Anywho,
I tried not to turn on the game because I knew I was gonna probably get sidetracked with it.
I've been pretty focused, but I have to shout out the ex Titan. I wish you were still here. We miss you. Come back to us, King. Anywho, um, all right. I just have Ortega starts helping the Gorn with something. The Gorn gives her more food, and then starts to get upset when Ortegas cooks it, which is like, oh, you don't like fire.
Yeah, I like that point that they threw out, like, oh, like Gorner. I can't remember if they like showed that in any previous episode that the Gorn don't like
Yeah,
fire.
and it's a great thing to establish
It
for
is.
the ultimate solution. So like,
It is.
it makes sense. They're both pilots, which is cool. They start to communicate more.
Mm-hmm.
Ortegas establishes some form of communication with the yes/no system, and learns that this is a Gorn female as well. Um,
Here's the
they
crazy
play.
thing. Right at this point, this is when I started to really like the episode.
This is the heart of the episode is good. This is
Yes.
what saves the whole Dagon episode is Ortega's getting over her fear of the Gorn by not like how La'an did it by putting a rifle to its throat.
We'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get there. But by like actually understanding a Gorn and communicating and kind of learning that the Gorn are just folks on
And
some level.
it's what you
Scary
do.
dinosaur folks, but folks.
It's what you do when you have a scary enemy and you're trying to like show that they can be sympathetic, that like, because all we've seen about the Gorn up to this point is that they pretty much just come in and just like destroy and unalive
Mm-hmm.
everybody just so they can procreate and make more Gorn. So
Right.
seeing
Very
seeing
Borg
this,
like in that.
yeah, very Borg like. So seeing the species in a different light, especially to a character that's been scarred pretty hard by the Gorn, like it was. This was like when I got here, and I put it in my notes. I put this is Star Trek.
Yeah, exactly. Once it starts, I mean, they have contorted this script in like 100 different directions to get here,
Mm-hmm.
but we're here, and what is here is quintessential Star Trek. So I appreciated that as well. Um, they play chess, and the Gorn wins like 3 times in a row. So we learned the Gorns are pretty smart,
Okay,
which I
okay.
guess
I
they
do have an issue with this part though.
really. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I do. I understand that this was just a way of like showing how the Gorn are intelligent and everything, like how this Gorn like picked up on the rules of chess, never having to play it ever, and was able to beat Ortega's 3 times and whatnot. But right before they started doing this, she was talking about fixing his her communication device that the Gorn had. And so I thought like we were going to go immediately into trying to fix that, but they had
Oh, and not.
time. We're on the time clock here, right? We are on a time clock here, right? Like multiple,
This was.
we've had
Mm-hmm.
multiple situations that
Go
like
for it. Mm-hmm.
show like we're on a time clock. So, but you have enough time to sit there and play games?
This is exactly what they screwed up, and I'm gonna say the episode name tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow. This is exactly what they screwed up. It was, we're here to stop something from happening that
Uh-huh.
changes the future, but we got time to make love and have hot dogs and things like that. It's
You
like,
you
are
know
y'all
what
working on this or like what?
you know what this reminds me of?
What's that?
You're playing a video game and they tell you the main story plot mission that we got to get here because the town is going to be destroyed by these people who are already en route to that town. And it's like,
Yeah.
okay, let's do that. But then you get a side mission that says, I lost my cat. Can you go find my cat?
Oh, and the side mission's not going to come back. And at the end of the side mission is a power up that you want
Yes,
to do
yes,
the main mission. And it's like,
yes.
how do I have time to do this?
So like I hate it. I hate it when video games do that. Like you make a mission that's on a time clock, but I still have time to do all these side missions. It's not just like one. I do a multitude of them. And then when I finally
Yeah.
get to the town, it's like, oh, the people just got here. But if you do this game also with like screw all the side missions, just go straight to the town, the same thing will happen.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, because the way video games get you is that, oh, they're going to go to the town and we got to beat them there or they're going to destroy it. But you're not like at the level to win the fight. That's
Yeah,
that you have to get.
yeah.
So you have
That's
to
also
do
true.
side
That's also
missions.
true. Yeah.
And it's just like, okay, I'm
So
kind of on
what?
the clock here, but yeah, I
So
gotta go save this cat first.
was this just the leveling up side mission for Ortegas? Is that what?
I don't know. I don't know. I do forgive her. I do forgive them on the chest because I think they do establish that this particular Gorn, at least, likes to understand her enemy. So I think because she was like, "I understand you," um,
Yeah,
like understands English, like or Federation standard
yeah.
or whatever they call it, and all that stuff. So I just kind of assumed maybe the Gorns played some chess before, but
And
I don't know.
and that's why they did it to establish that about the Gorn. And I get that, but I feel like that there could have been other ways. Once again, other ways that they could have showed this
Yeah,
to get, to get them to this point where Erica's like, "Oh, you want to understand your enemy."
yeah, yeah, exactly. They play the Gorn game, which I believe is unnamed. And then the Gorn gets sad because Ortega's supposed to eat the winning piece, and then Ortega's fakes it, which I thought was amazing.
I did
And it
like
makes
that.
the Gorn happy again.
Yeah,
Um, and Ortega's is like, something's watching him, and the Gorn totally agrees.
yeah.
Um, we also learn that the Gorn is injured, and so I guess the Gorn don't do rescue missions. But if the Gorn did rescue her, they would probably put her down, unfortunately.
Which is
And so
another
she,
good plot point to show about
yep,
that particular species. They view weakness as like you're of no use anymore once you've gotten to this point. So,
yeah, it's a zero sum game with them,
but I do have
for
the
sure.
I the I do have like so there are no Doctor Gorns like like like
That's a good catch.
they've shown that they got like really good technology. Like
Yeah,
we've seen countless times of their great technology. Heck, the Gordon had a freaking personal shield around the settlement. Like
sure did.
so, I was like, all right, no advances in medical technology. Is that not a thing in the Gorn society? I guess not.
Yeah, yeah. I. That's a good point. I don't know how they resolve that. I guess also the Gorn don't go on rescue missions, so I guess it doesn't matter if they have Gorn doctors.
Yeah,
But yeah, that's a good. I don't know. So the Gorn kind of just wants to live on this planet, live out her days, whatever she's got left.
and pretty much
I
just
think
pass away in
all of
peace.
yeah, and I think all of that is also just to because I think at some point intellectually where you see this episode is going, it's like there's not going to be a Gorn on the Enterprise, is there? Well, I guess there could be. Why not? It would be fun. But
They were trying to
so
humanize the Gorn, and it made
there's
you think like, okay, what's going to be the outcome of this? Are they going to take the Gorn back? Is it going to be part of the Enterprise crew, or like there's a lot of things that could occur with this because the in this particular timeline, the Federation is at odds with the Gorn. I want to say at war, but I don't think like they're fully at war right now. They're like extremely at odds with
Yeah.
her.
Well, and what I was about to say is I think this is also the writers giving them permission to be able to write the Gorn off at the end of the episode
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that. It's like, well,
yeah,
she kind of didn't really have a place in the world anymore,
yeah.
so
There wouldn't
don't
have
feel
been.
too bad for when this is going to happen.
If anything, I would have seen like even though like we know the Federation is a peaceful organization, I still felt like they would have made her a prisoner of war. Really.
Well, and I mean, or not. I mean, who knows what they would have done? I mean, that's what they saved themselves from by not having her go back. Which, honestly, I
Yeah.
think the cooler ending would have been her going back and being like, "Wow, there's a Gorn in Starfleet somewhere. That's amazing."
Yeah.
But yeah, they went the way that they went. It's their show. They can write it however they want.
They can.
MFers. Um,
Hilarious.
yeah, I think it's both dope that they're both pilots. Okay, I'm just looking over my editorial notes real quick. So the Enterprise is going in, which is
Yep.
something I thought was we were headed towards after the first of however many staff meetings we had, where we debate the ethics of
Mm-hmm.
sticking around to save Ortegas or not, or try to save Ortegas or not. Enterprise is heading in. Uhura starts praying in Swahili because Pike. I
How'd
wonder if
you
he
know it
did
was
this to mess with her
Swahili?
now. The
Yeah,
closed captioning
closed
said it.
caption. Okay.
Yeah, which is a good, note for her. Pike reiterated the 61%. I do wonder at this point, did he do that to mess with her in a critical
Probably.
moment? Since we do
Probably.
know that he knows. Um, and if Enterprise is in there too long, it's going to get crushed by the wormhole.
Yeah.
Their bugs start chasing Ortegas, and she has something that sets them on fire. Um, but the same thing blows up the battery for the personal shield and the communications
Yeah.
device. And Ortegas is like, I just unalived us both, which
Why
she is
she?
correct.
Why didn't she use that sooner? Why did she wait till she got like as close back to that settlement before doing that? I didn't. I didn't fully understand that.
I guess, I mean, and this is something I don't like to do, as you well know. I don't like doing the work of the writers, which we've done a
Mm-hmm.
little bit for here. I think maybe if that's like the only one you have, you're going to try to outrun first. I don't
Okay.
know.
Okay. I'll give you that.
Yeah, it's not established in the episode,
It's not.
right? So, like, I don't know.
It's only
we spent
speculation at this point. Yes.
They spent a lot of the episode trying to show off how competent in many areas Ortegas is, and clearly has a bright future in front of her when she's done flying the Enterprise. Um, but yeah, that's an incredible f up if she has like 10 of those things and just didn't
Hilarious.
fight for further away. But it does inspire the plan to ignite the atmosphere, which the Gorn, of course,
Does
hates
not
because
like.
she hates fire, but she
Yeah.
goes along with. Um,
Especially when the Gorn
and
shows that like they have black. She has blast shield parts from I guess her shuttle that also crash
The
landed
Gorn
there.
has everything you need for this plan in what appears to be a very sparse setting. She had the fuel and the and the heat shield.
Well, it was a jetpack. It was a jetpack. So
Yeah.
I would allow that because I believe like it was a part of their gear that they normally take on away missions.
Okay.
I could be speculating also, but I allow it
This one, who knows? This script is
everywhere.
just
Yes.
difficult. Yeah. Sure. Why not? Uh, also, I have in my notes, Strange New Worlds is bad at writing a ticking clock. Apparently, I needed to remind myself to say that, even though it came out naturally. I think it's cool when the captain flies a ship. And I like the fact that Una gave Pike. This is going back to something I noted earlier when they fly in. Pike's flying the ship.
Hmm.
I think it's cool when the captain flies the ship. I don't know why I think that's cool. Like when Picard does it, I'm like, yeah, this is
Yeah,
cool.
there are a few times where you actually like get glimpses of what the captain was good at that led them to that point of like how they got through the ranks to get to where they are. Like it wasn't just the fact that they're good at leading, but like obviously they had to have some other good um, quality that
Yeah,
made them like one of their perennial or like one of the best in this particular area within Starfleet.
Yeah, and of course Pike is like, well, I'm the best pilot on the ship behind Ortega's, and I know like he doesn't even believe that. He's like, I'm just the best pilot on the ship. I just have to do captain stuff. And Una makes fun of him for it, which I thought was good.
Which is
Uh,
just as a little side note, in my head canon of like who my captain would be, my captain would actually have a past in engineering and would have like been like the chief engineer of like a particular ship before becoming the captain of the ship that he is on. And
Interesting.
one of the main things that would be like the conflict would like, especially like when picking the chief engineer, would be like no chief engineer wants a captain that's been a chief engineer.
Hmm.
Be- because a lot of times the chief engineer like points out like, oh, it's gonna take 8 hours, but it really only takes four.
Yeah. So you have four. Stop trying to be a miracle worker.
Exactly.
You're not Montgomery Scott. Back to work.
So, but like
No.
I read it. If I was like writing a book or something about this, like with this captain, I would write into like the the type of captain that they are. That they would be like either, depending on how tense the situation is, they would either call BS and be like, "Look, I know I can get that done in 2 hours. You can get that done in two." Like, or like if it's not as tense of a situation, they like embellish on the time. I just be like, "Oh, okay, I'll let you slide on this one."
Interesting. All right. Well, maybe they'll go that route one day.
That's just a little one off side.
Okay, so the Gorn realizes Ortegas can't move all this heat shield stuff on our own, and Ortega starts to give up, and the Gorn's like, "Nah, we're not gonna go out like that." Like the Gorn, like I guess the Gorn is still okay with going out some way, but it's like, oh, we're not gonna do it like this.
Yeah.
We're gonna. Oh, Ortega
It,
says it earlier in the episode. What'd you say? Light it up or something like that.
yeah. And
Let's light this candle.
by this point they've have established enough rapport with one another to show that like there's a strong level of trust here. And when Ortega's is showing that like she's at that point of giving up, which I'm pretty sure that Gorn has been there a lot longer than Ortega's. I'm pretty sure that Gorn has had some moments where she wanted to give up, but then she like powered through. She didn't want Ortega's to fall into that. That's the way I took that.
Eh, gotcha. Yeah, I like this Gorn, which
Mm-hmm.
makes the ending just awesome, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, Anywho, so something happens. Ortega's has to be the one to launch it, which is totally
Yeah,
inconsequential.
her remote control thing when she tried to use it, it didn't work for some crazy reason.
Okay, whatever. It didn't matter.
I mean,
So
we all
sorry.
knew that that was going to happen.
Yeah, and they're under the heat shield because they've ignited the atmosphere or whatever the little area that they're around. Um, at this point, it's starting to get dangerous for Enterprise to be in there. They're still not at red alert, by the way. But it's
Hmm.
starting to get dangerous for the Enterprise to be in there. And Uhura feels compelled to confess because she doesn't want Pike to make the wrong decision that gets everyone unalive. And Pike just looks at her and is like, I know that you did that. And I guess
Yeah.
it's okay. I don't know what that means.
Well,
But
he did say that this was something that was out of your character. He did Captain Pike did actually point that out with her. So it was like he's giving her a pass because he knew that she did manipulate the data, but he was going to go along with it anyways, even if she had said like it's at 56%. The funny thing is, and this is where I'm like, people are probably going to be like you're very hard on her, but of her has had past instances in other episodes that we have seen that has shown like you would have known how Pike would have reacted in this particular situation. I feel like if she would have been like, it's at 50, 56, 57%, I believe it was,
56%.
he would have been like, that's close to 60. Let's give it a shot. Like, I felt
That's
like,
how I would have been.
yeah,
I
it's
lo-
close. We got, you're in the ballpark. Let's go. Let's do it. Like,
He didn't even ask in a way where it's like,
is it
if it's not 60%,
exactly?
then we're not going to do it. He
Exactly.
just was like, well, it needs to be like I feel like he says it needs to be about 60%. Like, is that where it's at? And she just decides to lie, and I'm so confused by
They
because
they were trying to create a situation where like she had a moment where she wasn't the to tent. I can never say this word the correct way. The the best Starfleet officer.
oh, okay,
The like how Starfleet officer would like Starfleet officers don't lie. They're like the paragon of virtue and all this stuff. Like it was just showing a scene where she didn't hold up to that.
but why is she better now because she did that and got through it, or
And that's the issue because she only got a slap on the wrist, really, barely even that from the
yeah,
captain about this. Is there really growth from this situation where she tried to lie?
yeah. Also, why in the world do you just have a data manipulation button on the pad? I wondered that too. I was like, why did she just have to do like a thing and then like the data is manipulated? But anywho,
I'm thinking about that, but
um,
like in my line of work, I can pretty much override practically everything. I just, but like, granted, like to a certain degree, certain things require like my managers approval for it
yeah.
to be overwritten.
And, and
So
and and how many times do they fly the building into a wormhole where everyone's life is going to be at stake?
it happens all the time, Patrick. It happens a lot more than what you think. Okay. Uh,
I just feel like that
I was just in a
situation should be a little
wormhole
bit
last
different.
week. Like,
Wormhole is actually just very safe. I don't know what we were doing, but yeah, it's like Uhura doesn't necessarily get better, but I guess she gets better because we never see her do anything, to my knowledge, do anything like this ever again. And Pike makes a leadership decision to let her off the hook, but not like in a way where there's like any like sort of like veiled. I guess maybe the look he kind of gives her is a kind of like I'm a ticked
yeah,
off Pike kind of look, but I feel like there should have been like a little post conversation of like, okay, ensign, I'm gonna let you get away with that as an ensign, and I knew that you had done this, and I was like, it must have been pretty close, so I decided to do it anyways. But
yeah. I,
you
I
know,
I feel like for this scene, it would have worked better for her to like try to come clean. He'd be like, "Yeah, I know you've been manipulating the data. We'll talk about that later. We'll have a
yeah,
discussion about that
exactly.
later." Like, and like move past it because we're still in this tense situation right now. Like move
Well,
past
but
it,
but are we?
and then well,
Because they screwed up the ticking clock.
we're supposed to be in a tense situation,
Yeah,
and then have a scene later that like showed him admonishing her. Like, I didn't appreciate you doing that. I would have thought you would have like, at this point of knowing me, would have understood what I would have done
exactly,
in that particular situation, and that makes me disappointed in why you manipulated the data. Like, I
exactly,
understand why you did it. You wanted to save Ortegas. I understand that. However, my duty as the captain is to make sure all my crew get out of a situation alive.
yeah.
And
And I feel like there's, mm-hmm.
and you put me in a position like if I hadn't known that you changed it, you put me in a position to not know all the information to make the correct decision in that situation.
Yeah, exactly. It's an odd spot to have a lesson because I would have also taken the moment. Maybe this is just the lawyer in me to be like,
Mm-hmm.
Ensign, you have to get the confidence to advocate for your point.
Mm-hmm.
If I say 60 and it's 56 and it's close enough and that's your point, tell me the truth and then make sure that you advocate for it.
And to
And then
be
I'd probably be like, you're right, 56% is close enough in this instance.
and
I can command around that.
to be fair to the writers, it could have been one of those situations that's like she throughout this whole episode has been like pleading her case. We shouldn't leave. Da 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 da. It's like so she probably just got to that point. Was like I, like I've done this too much at this point.
But also against the writers. You
Yeah,
could take out one staff meeting where we're debating on whether staying and
yeah,
going, and
Yep.
insert this scene that gives Uhura some growth for what she did.
Yes.
And it would have been an even better episode, in
It
my
would
opinion.
have.
Like, we didn't need 5 debates on whether to stay in Saber Tegas or do the Uber Eats mission to drop off the vaccine. Like,
Would this be
one of those
considered our
scenes
four
could have
lights?
been. I know, we're not there yet.
Oh, we're not. Oh, you got one. Okay, let's go. I'm
Yeah.
ready for that.
The Enterprise plans to leave because it's getting dangerous, I guess. We're not at red alert, so I don't really know what the danger is.
You're not gonna let that go, are you?
No, I am not going to let that go. And then they see the flare from one of the moons that they haven't scanned because they were
Mm.
scanning just random moons just
Well, I think they
to
said what,
try and
like
get lucky.
280 something moon,
396. Yeah, it was a very specific
396.
number. Yeah. They would have had to be in there for a while, which we know they can't do for a multitude of reasons.
Yeah.
Um, and so this is where I get a little bit confused. Una's like, we've hit the red line, so we got to
Mm-hmm.
go now. Which I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
is that the ship blows up red line or the red
Mm.
line of we got to go deliver, be our Amazon services and deliver this vaccine? I got confused.
Completely agree.
Okay.
Completely agree. And then that's where he tells La'an to go down. And La'an has enough time to get on the turbo lift, communicate to her staff, hey, meet me in transporter room such and such before going down to the ship. But we're at the red line. So wouldn't this be
The
more.
red line of what?
It, I was
Like, okay,
thinking that it was the red line of the ship being crushed by the wormhole.
we are not at red alert. Critical systems aren't failing.
Mm-hmm.
Shields aren't failing.
Mm-hmm.
The transporters are up.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is fine on this ship. What is happening?
I want to point
And
out
like you
one.
said,
I want to point out one other thing that's gonna like blow your mind. Okay,
yeah,
if I hadn't already decreased your scoreboard, this might decrease it again. So every time we've seen a wormhole in the Star Trek universe, it is never just a like point to point type thing.
yeah,
Like when you go through it, all of a sudden, like boop, you're at the other spot on the other end. No, there is a pathway within the wormhole that you need to cross to get to the other side. They depicted this wormhole as like a point to point. Like as soon as they stuck
that's
the
true.
Enterprise in the middle, they were halfway on the other part of the galaxy and halfway on the other from where they were. So it was like half of the Enterprise was in this area of the galaxy, and they could just see straight through. And I'm like, that's not how wormholes work. I mean, granted, like I'm not a physicist, like
Yeah,
so I can't do all the calculations and break down like what how wormholes are,
but we've
but
watched enough DS9 to know that, like,
exactly the established
yeah,
lore of how wormholes are in Star Trek. This didn't act that way.
yeah. No, it didn't. It actually acted, and like I said, not scientists, and I don't want to go sci fanatics where I'm like questioning the tech or whatever,
Uh
but
huh.
like if they said it was just like a rip in space, because they've done like the whole like tear in space
Yes.
kind of
Yes.
thing. That is actually how they treated this, but they called it a wormhole because you
Yes.
can wedge that open as it's trying to close, and yeah,
And I would have even allowed them to have like fix that at the end, be like after like all the data that we collected and everything, we found out like this wasn't actually a wormhole. It's more like a tear in space, like a fold in space where like one point meets another point. Like
yeah,
that would have made completely more sense. And I was just like, oh, okay, all right, that makes sense for that scene.
that's a good point. Man, okay,
Sorry, sorry if
that didn't.
sorry if I decreased your score. Sorry.
No, no, it didn't decrease my score because I think also like how I was saying about how like when you get a certain amount of flags, the refs are looking for everything. Like I'm starting to get numb to it at this point. So I don't
Oh,
think
oh, gotcha. I don't know if that's a
I
good thing or a
think
bad thing.
I think my score is going to be fair and a little bit kind, and I'll be able
Okay.
to explain it. So yeah, it's not a bad thing. Um, So there's an away team to go get. I say to go get Lon. No, Lon is on the away team to go get
Hmm.
Ortegas. Um, they land, and if you could go ahead and cue the. Go ahead and go ahead and do
There
it.
are four lights.
They shoot this effing Gorn.
Immediately, immediately,
What are we
Patrick.
doing?
Like,
Immediately.
not
Like,
even like a moment hesitation. You literally just saw her come out of this like thing with the Gorn. I understand. I understand.
yeah.
Laan has a past with the Gorn. I understand that, and I understand her reaction
But
would
she's
have
supposed to be
mainly.
over that.
She is. She is supposed to be past this more at this point, and I would have understand her even like pointing the gun at the Gorn, telling the Gorn, "Don't you effing move" or something to that effect.
Yeah.
No, no, straight shot. I agree with you on this. That's
I
perfect for a lights moment.
Yeah, I don't understand how that Gorn, like to the point where I'm like, can someone contact this Gorn's family so they can sue Starfleet? Because this is like, you know, inappropriate police behavior levels of like.
Man,
Also, here's another thing about them deciding to pull the trigger right there. That makes it four lights. Is Ortega's is in the line of fire.
yes,
Like
yes,
Like, if there had been like another one of those little earthquakes or something, you could have shot Ortegas.
yeah. Yeah, and
And
I was halfway expecting Ortegas to be like, don't no 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 don't shoot, don't shoot, no. Like,
yeah,
but it even took her a long time to even get to that point, and by that time, the Gorn was already unalived.
also these phasers on this planet where it's just supposed to be Ortegas are set to unalive.
Oh, good, another good point, Patrick. They're
Yeah,
normally
why
said
didn't it stun her?
standard procedure in the Federation is even if you take a phaser to on a away mission, they're set to stun, not to kill. You are completely correct.
Yeah, so like La'an doesn't act like a train officer. She sees red when she sees a Gorn and just goes crazy and just starts firing, despite the fact the person you're supposed to save is downrange.
Mm-hmm.
Like you haven't assessed the situation
Mm-hmm.
at all. So she just goes nuts and just shoots this Gorn with a phaser that's set to unalive for no reason. And it's
Damn,
just like,
I was like, damn it, La'an.
You betrayed your uniform.
there you go. Exactly. Exactly. I'm like, this needs to be
Hey,
investigated. It won't because it's a Gorn.
it
And I
won't.
guess we're
It
just
won't.
Gorn racist nowadays. But like, I could not believe how the ending of this episode, like, first off, the emotional impact was set up and paid off, and I was like, man, I was really hurt by
I
it.
get where
But
they were going.
yeah,
I,
but the minute you start to think about it, it's like, why did that happen? Like, Lon needs to be suspended or something, pending investigation. Like, you just, we're not, so like you were saying earlier, like, we're kind of at war,
mm-hmm,
but we're not at war with the
mm-hmm.
Gorn. So you're not supposed to just cap them on sight. Like, I was very much put off. And it wasn't even in Lon's characterization. This episode has a lot of people not acting within their characterization, but it's not even in her characterization to not try to assess the situation before start blasting, and she just starts blasting. And I didn't like it. I didn't like it. And also,
I don't have a
my
better way
last
to
point
write
on
that
the
scene either. I wanted to say
so
that.
what?
I don't have a better way to write that scene either. I was trying to think of something as you were saying that, but I was like, I don't know how you could have done that in a way because you want the emotional payoff of the Gorn being unalive for Ortegas. So, but I don't know of a way to do it. This might have been what happened in the writers' room. The Gorn needs to be unalive. We don't know how to get there in a
They
cohesive
just
way.
do it. Yeah.
So it's just
Well, you
like,
said her.
well, let's just do it. Just have one of them shoot the Gorn on sight. But it
One of the
goes
things
against Starfleet officers. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
one of one of the things you might have could have done is she's there with two other red shirts. one of them could have panicked. It didn't have to be Lon. Lon's the
Yeah,
one who's supposed to know better.
that's true.
So maybe one of them could have panicked and done it, but even then, that still would be stupid because like you're sending out. They're supposed to be the best of Starfleet on the Enterprise, so like, um, yeah, okay. And the last thing about the Therefore lights moments, just to just to get us there,
Put a bow on it.
um,
Let's put a bow on it.
yeah, it would have been more creative and more interesting for future episodes and things like that to have Gorn interaction in Starfleet
That's
and
true.
to have a Gorn somewhere in Starfleet that's being talked to, discussed with,
That's true.
understood. And I get it. Some of the TOS people are going to be like, well, then why wouldn't you be able to understand it when Kirk runs
With
into a
Kirk,
Gorn
yeah,
and
yeah.
all that stuff? You can still have that. You don't. I'm not saying you have to make leaps and bounds and strides in understanding the Gorn. I just think it's more interesting for a Gorn to be there and for Ortegas to have a Gorn friend and things like that. I think it's more interesting for her to get out of that situation with him, for
Mm-hmm.
Pike to interact with a Gorn when it beams on his ship
Mm-hmm.
and he's like, what in the world is happening? Like, all that's much more entertaining than the 50 effing staff meetings we had arguing whether we're going to save Ortegas or not. Like, this episode found its way to a lot of uninteresting points for no reason, and one
I
of it
have to
is just
agree.
making La'an a gun happy, itchy trigger finger person that she hasn't been this whole time. Like it's yeah, awful.
Yeah.
And really, all of this happens. That's the concluding.
Concluding.
Concluding. I don't know how you conclude. There are four lights moments.
We just move on.
We just move on. I don't know if I get returned to the Enterprise after that, but all of that is so that Ortegas emotes pretty hard and gets the attention of the Metrons, who are running an experiment on us because they're a bunch of a-holes.
Yeah. And like we said offline when they said this, like immediately I was like, this reminds me of a species in TOS that I cannot fully put my finger on. So we did the research to find out like when they were talked about. So they did the scene in a way to show them to show them first off, but
Yeah,
also erasing her memory of ever meeting them so that there's no like record in Starfleet that shows that these people exist. So when Kirk ends up meeting them later, it's not like it's not weird. It's like they're acting like they never did know them, but like there was this previous instance with Pike where he met the Metrons, where they met the Metrons.
yeah. Which I also thought was lazy, just to do it through memory eraser. Like they've done this before in other episodes where it's just like they don't see who's attacking them or the entity is a mystery and they don't say their name or something like that. Where
Mm,
it's like believable that there's a data point on this, entity and we just don't, know about it for some reason.
yeah,
But the memory erasing thing was like part of the laziest stuff of this episode, um, in my opinion.
I would agree. And they've done a number of that like within TNG. You remember when they got like um trapped in that like blue aura thing. The Enterprise got trapped in that blue thing that like they couldn't get out no matter what, and they saw like a second Enterprise within that, and then it turned out that was just like entity that was just like seeing what they would do in these situations. Do you remember that episode?
Oh, was that with Nagilum?
I think so. The entity it came in that blue fog or whatnot, and had eyes and and a mouth within that blue fog, which I
Yeah,
thought
that's
was
Nagilum.
okay. That's
They went.
Nagila.
The reason why I remember that episode is Dork Trek is a explicit and funny Star Trek podcast that they don't make anymore,
Uh
and they
huh.
reviewed that episode and they referred to the area that Nagilum was in as the area of blackness, and they're like, "Oh man,
Hilarious.
it must be dope in the area of blackness."
Hilarious. But like they didn't fully. understand what type of entity that was after the
Yeah,
fact.
exactly.
So it kind of left things up in the air of this particular entity. But I don't I don't think any Trekkie watching the episode would have been like, what the hell? We don't even know much about the species. Why didn't they like dig in more and give us more exposition of what the species was? No one said that. It stood the episode stood by itself without having to give you that exposition,
Yeah, exactly.
which they could have
Exactly.
done that here as well.
Yeah. And I think Enterprise has a great example of that because Archer straight up fights the Borg and then survives it and is like,
Yeah,
what was that?
that's
I
actually
don't know what that was.
correct.
So it like doesn't spoil it that later on where they like introduce themselves and call themselves the Borg that people aren't like, oh yeah, we know you already.
Yeah,
Like you'd have to be deep in the history book and like making some pretty deep connections as a character in that universe to even put two and two together. So yeah, they didn't need to do that. They erase her memory. They go. She gets beamed back up. Um, uh,
we we
and
we
then
guess
there's
we guess they drop off the serum.
I gotta tell you, I don't
I'm
care anymore.
belaboring that point.
I gotta tell you, really don't care anymore.
I am belaboring that point. Just like the whole staff meeting thing for you. That was my thing for me in this one. Like,
The Uber
we
Eats
gotta
mission?
go.
Yeah.
We gotta save the children. We gotta save the children. It's just like,
Even the number of people that they picked to go save with the vet, which one is enough worth going to save. I get it. Like we're the heroes in the story, but it's like 4,000 people. I'm like, aren't there like a trillion humans?
you know,
You could have like picked like a larger number to
they couldn't have said the
feed
whole
the
planet.
stakes here a
Yeah.
little bit. Yeah. Oh man. And also to end the episode, Ortegas and Uhura have what feels like another nothing conversation. Like I said up top. But maybe like you mentioned to the one I said up top that it deepened, it showed their connection more. So maybe
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
was it.
That was what they were trying to get to ultimately. So the whole thing you're supposed to be led to believe after this that Ortegas and Ahura are much closer than what they once were before this situation occurring. Which, like, I felt you could have done in a number of ways that still would have made sense. But I mean, this direction that the writers decided to go in, and
Yeah, yeah. And Ortegas puts the piece that she didn't eat in front of the Gorn on her shelf to kind
yeah,
of signify
I
that
like
she
that.
had a friend that was a Gorn. That was a really nice touch.
Yeah, I like that.
Would have been more
By the way,
entertaining if that Gorn was still alive, but whatever.
I did put at the beginning of my notes that I love her quarters.
Yeah, they're cool.
Just the simple
With
fact
like the
that-
little like
yeah,
garage area. And,
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But like that's
Yeah.
besides the point.
Well, I got one more that's besides the point as well, kind of non sequitur. At the end of my notes, they need ship's counselors.
Oh, 100%.
This Ortegas is so confused at the end of the episode where it's like, my one friend shot my other friend, and I don't really know what to do with this information. And Uhura is kind of like, "Yeah, you'll get over it. Let's hug it out."
But here's my other issue with this is that okay, obviously La'an is more of your friend than what this Gorn was. Because
Has to be.
what
You only knew that going for like maybe what 3 or 4 days.
exactly? It wasn't like in Voyager they had the episode where Paris and Tuvok was trapped in this like
Oh, the little
dimensional
time
vortex.
planet?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And time ran faster there than it did on the outside. It wasn't like it was that, which
Yeah. Hold
that
on,
would have
hold on,
made
just
more
one-
sense. Oh my god, that would have made way more sense if they did that.
Hold on. Before I agree with you on that, I just remembered an episode from Voyager. Like the first time all year. It feels like.
That's true. That is true.
Huh.
See, there are
In
good
that
episodes
episode-
of Voyager.
in that episode, Tuvok has a chance at love, and that's
Yeah.
what they were kind of explaining. Is like we're on this planet where like who knows even if Voyager stuck around because time moves differently here, and you could have. And Tom was like, you could have a good life here with like this woman who's
Yeah.
clearly into you, and like he doesn't do it. Yeah. Okay, so when I was thinking that they were going to write Ortega's off before the episode, I think one of the reasons why I remember that is because I thought of that episode being like, I wonder if they're going to do that, where like, if they bring her back, she's going to be like 200 years old, so we're going to leave her there, but we're going to, set her up where she can like send supplies, where she can have like a great life and survive in her conditions and things like that. I thought maybe that's where they were going because that would be an interesting a more creative way to write off a character that's not alive or unalive stakes
Yeah.
all the time. But ultimately, I'm glad they didn't write her off. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm,
yeah.
I'm glad we
I think
have
I
Ortega.
also think it's too soon for her character to be written off. If I'm being honest, if we're looking at her character to be written off, I would probably say more at the end of season 4 or some point in the middle of season 5 to have some like you know that feeling of loss with the other characters.
Yeah. Honestly, I kind of feel like now that we're at the end of season 3 and we don't know what's going to happen next week, and I obviously
Mm-hmm.
can't be very wrong because one time I made the bold prediction that there'd never be a bad episode of the show and was immediately proved wrong. I think we're kind of locked in with this crew now. Like, I
We
think at
are.
some point a show takes a turn and
We are.
like we're not going to get a new helmsman for the last season. This isn't a Dax Terry Farrell situation. Like everyone's going to get a new posting. Stuff's going to shift
Yeah.
over. There might be a time jump where like Kirk is ready and like people have gotten promotions or something like that. And the last scene is Pike leaving the bridge with us knowing like that's kind of where I think we're going. But who knows? The next episode, everyone might get it.
But yeah,
Hard to tell.
it could be a cause and effect episode where time loop. But one thing I will point out is that so I'm glad you said that about when you said last season that there will never be a bad episode. Last week on our thing, I jokingly said, "You know what? I'm going to say there will never be another terrible episode." But like,
That's hilarious.
granted, I was saying that just to be funny, but also at the same time,
Right.
like, I mean, we only got 2 more episodes left, and they normally like 9 and 10 are like really, like, they're really good because we're getting to that end. So I didn't think that there would be a down episode, and granted, like this episode is not
Yeah.
like tomorrow. Like tomorrow,
Right.
definitely the worst episode within the series so far.
Yeah.
I think Charles will fight me on that because he hates the singing episode, the musical episode too. But
That's all right. He'll get over it.
He will.
Actually, I think he might agree with it. I think we
I think
could
he
talk
will.
him into that
I think he might agree with the fact that tomorrow was the worst episode
because
so
we
far.
all hated that episode.
Yeah. That was the one episode that we were all in lockstep agreement about it not being great.
Mm-hmm.
So, with that being
Absolutely.
said, what do you give this episode? Episode 8. No, excuse me. Episode 9 of Strange New World Season 3, Terrarium.
So, can I give you like some like quick
Mm-hmm.
background? This is overly businessy stuff. There's a rating in business that maybe you've come across before, but I think everyone's probably seen the question where they're like, how likely are you to refer this product, service, whatever, to a friend? You probably have seen that on a survey. The way you process that information is anything 6 or below, you're a detractor. You're not like very likely to do it.
Yeah.
Anything 9 or 10, you're a promoter, and 7 and 8, you're neutral.
Yes.
I'm not a detractor of this episode, but it's weird. I'm not a detractor, but I feel like a 7 is too high. But I can't give it less than a 7 because I'm not a detractor of that. I'm trying to explain the box that I'm in. I'm like, if there was a number between 6 and 7 that wouldn't make it a detractor, maybe like 6.9. I don't know, but I'm going 7 because we're not getting that granular with the thing. We move in half increments
Yeah.
basically. So I don't think it's as low as a 6.5, where I'm like leaning towards oh, I would never tell anyone to ever watch this episode, but I want to be right on that border of like, it's not going to be the first one where if someone was like, what's an episode of Star Trek where I can just kind of get a feel for it and stuff.
This would not be that one.
Well,
Yeah.
it wouldn't be the first one I do.
Mm-hmm.
I would suggest it would probably be way down the list of those episodes because you do get a feel for it. There's a heart to this episode where Ortegas is learning about the Gorn and the Gorn is learning about her, and it's like, man, this is some Star Trek stuff that's going on right now.
Mm-hmm.
But then everything else is just like a normal person watching this would be like, why is any of this happening? Like, why does this have to happen
Or
this way?
why do you watch this?
Yeah, exactly. So I'm giving it a 7 almost for lack of a better score to give it. The score I want to give it doesn't exist. So it's a 7. Just the
I
lowest neutral score I can give it.
I felt like when you said 7, you almost wanted to throw up like Ortega's almost did when she first ate that.
You are correct.
Okay,
You are
so
correct.
a bit of background on my rating. Okay,
Okay.
so um I did come into this episode with one rating, and then as we talked about it more and more, my rating did decrease. My biggest thing with what I gave it is this isn't saying that this episode sucked. This would just be an episode if I was doing a rewatch. I probably would skip this episode. I know everything I need to know about this episode. Rewatching it is not gonna get me to see it in a
Mm-hmm.
different light or make me feel any different than what I currently already feel about the episode.
Yeah.
The, but like also at the same time, it's not like I'm skipping this because like, salamander episode next. Like it's not on that level. But there
I
are
remember
like,
that Voyager episode as well.
man, what? But there are episodes even within, and I'll use DS9 as like my example because I've gone on record saying that that's my favorite Star Trek series. There are episodes within DS9 that are not like the greatest episodes, but not necessarily the worst episodes.
Mm-hmm.
But I will still skip them because I'm like, there's no point in me watching this because I already know what's going to happen, and I'm not going to change my stance on it at this point because
Mm-hmm.
I have rewatched it in my older age, and I'm just like, yeah, like there's no more there. So
Right.
I get what you're saying about the 7, and then anything below that becomes a detractor. I get that. Like we look at that at the same time within my line of business, but I can't give it a 7. I did come in with a 7 out of 10. I did, but
Yeah.
as we talked about it, I was like, a 7 is saying that it was decent, and I even had to go back to a previous episode within the season when I did give the episode a 7. I believe it was what, episode
Oh no.
2?
You might end up now that you're doing that. I'm looking. You might end up getting me to change it. To be honest with you. Go
Yeah,
ahead though.
episode 2, the Wedding Bell Blues episode. I gave that a 7 out of 10. But I would watch that episode again. This one I would not. So I have to give this a 6 out of 10. I have to. There were moments in the episode, like I said, this is Star Trek, like where she had a deep hatred for the Gorn, and learning about the Gorn and actually get to know one and understanding and working together to get to a area where they could hopefully be saved.
Yeah.
Like that is quintessential Star Trek. Like, but like you said, the multiple staff meetings talking about how we're going to save Ortegas, the uncharacteristic nature of Uhura, uh, so many other things that we pointed out. It's just like I can't. The writers fumbled, and I'm not saying that they fumbled to the point where they're going to lose the game using a football reference, but they did fumble, and they're going to have to come back pretty well within this 10th episode in order to win the game.
So you thought you did it during the episode, but you just did it. I was looking back at my past scores, and I was just like, you know what? I can't give it a 7 either. I might have to agree with you and give this a 6. You're right. Like I gave Shuttle to Konfori, the zombie episode, a 7.
And I think I got that, what, a 7.5, I believe? I can't remember.
Yeah, and that was out of bias for zombies. And I gave Hegemony Part 2 a 6, and
Mm-hmm.
that was fully out of bias. And I copped to that because I was like, I think I would have usually given this an 8, but I don't like usually the second part of two-parters. So I gotta give this a 6. I can't put this on the same level of my other 7. So you didn't do it during the episode, but right at the end here, when you made me look back at my prior scores, I'm like, what am I thinking? I'm going way soft. I was a hurrying this episode where I was just
Yes.
like, I know you lied to me, and that would put everyone's life at risk. But okay, and no, it's not okay.
But
Yeah,
the
you're
other thing too was like, okay, what do you say the one that you gave a 7 shuttle was that shuttle to Campari?
yeah,
Yeah, you would rewatch that episode, wouldn't you?
I would.
This particular episode, if it came across your Paramount Plus, like, oh, this is the next episode, would you be like, oh yeah, let's start that, or would you be like, oh, I don't want to watch that?
No, because it's 56 minutes and like
Exactly,
2 to 3 things happened in this
exactly,
episode. Yeah,
exactly,
so you're right.
and nothing happens within this episode. Well, let me not say that. Like what I said, what we've already watched within this episode, we already know exactly how things are going to happen, and another rewatch is not going to change our mind of like seeing something different or some spark of brilliance or anything, because I feel like we would have picked up on stuff like that. And then also, when we were talking about Shuttle to Conforti, if we went back and we listened to that review, we did not rip it
Mm-mm.
anywhere close to how we ripped this episode. Like we were going in on this episode, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, we threw the seventh flag so we can see all the penalties now very
Yeah,
clearly. We're looking for them. We did. Well, so it's not tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow
it's not.
levels. Um, I will say that it doesn't. But yeah, you said it right. I'm not going to repeat what you said.
I'm gonna have
You
to.
said it exactly right.
I will have to go back to my other scores from season 6. I mean, season 6 from season 2 and 1, and figure out like, would this be considered the second worst episode so far? Um,
Well, we didn't do season 1, did we?
well, we didn't review season 1, but um, when I said my notes from
Oh,
season 1, I'm thinking like in my head, really.
oh, okay, gotcha, gotcha. Well, I was confused for a second because I was like, wait, I don't think I have scores from season 1. Maybe I missed it.
So definitely from season 2, I have those written down somewhere. Like I will go
I have
back
those too.
and like look at that and see like how I rated each and every episode. But like really, from season 2, there's only one episode that I don't want to watch, and we know that episode. So like,
I think this is the second worst episode.
I
If
think it
someone wanted
is.
to give this episode a 5.5 or a 5,
I wouldn't be
I also
upset.
wouldn't fault you. Yeah,
Yeah,
I wouldn't argue with you about that.
even if someone
I
said this is like one of the worst episodes and like gave it a 3, I wouldn't fault them. Now if they said that it was worse than tomorrow, that's when I'd be like, hold on, wait.
Yeah, it kind of does get a 6 from me because if I bump this down to a 5, then I got to bump
Yeah,
tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow down,
lower.
and that might cause
Hmm.
like a ripple effect of me trying to readjust
Hmm.
these scores that I came up with in the moment that we're not going to update on. So I think your 6 rationale I am wholly adopting and using as my rationale. And if anyone wants to give it lower, I'm not going to stop you.
Not gonna even try to argue with you on that. This will be the one and only time where you and I'm saying this from Patrick's point of view, where you would hear a lawyer say, "You know what? You're right. I rest." No, no additional arguments, Your Honor.
That's what we call. Let me make sure I'm using. I think that's what we call a nolo contendere.
Oh,
To
really?
bust out the Latin
I didn't know.
a little bit.
I didn't know you had a term for it.
Yeah, this is where you accept guilt, but do not, but you or you accept a guilty plea, but don't admit guilt. I like that's about as close as we get. Like
Yeah,
we are no low contendery. If you want to be like, this is because you're right. It's odd for Strange New Worlds to misstep, and I
it
think it's this
is.
ticking clock thing. It's like, stop trying to do the ticking clock because something about you guys doing the ticking clock makes you mischaracterize
Mm-hmm.
everyone in the episode, and you just
Mm-hmm.
compound error over error. You can't write this device. If you want to write this device, you need to hire a contractor that has written good ticking clock stories before and get them to punch up the script so that your strength of having people go on character arcs and
Mm-hmm.
journeys shows through while the clock is ticking. But
or or
yeah,
even just
they
had a
don't get
director,
it.
like even had a guest starring director for this episode that like it was good at doing ticking clock stories, so he could like point out to the writers like this is not a good direction for the character. Uh,
Yeah.
it- it- yeah, there was just a lot of stuff that, in our opinion, like they did wrong within this episode,
Hmm.
but. And the ticking clock thing, like having multitude of them, like what we counted, what 5 of them,
Yeah.
like by the end of of our review, like it's
Yeah, they got a fever, and the only prescription is more ticking clock.
and and really all it did was like we have point A and we have point B. So we know where we want to start with this episode. We know where we want to end with this episode. And it's like everything in between, they were just like, we're trying to shoehorn this enough to get to this point B. And they fell flat on their face with it.
Yeah.
Cause it was just like they were trying to just get to the next point, get to the next point, or push it forward to the point to get to this ending part. And they didn't do a good job of it.
Well said.
But I guess we'll end that here. Thank you
Yeah.
once
Yeah.
again for joining us with another review of Star Trek Strange New Worlds. We got one more episode before the end of the season, and we're probably thinking about doing a end of season breakdown to like just discuss like how we felt about the season overall. We did that with season 2, and I might be able to get my brother to join us on that one, which would be exciting. So join us then.
Very.
Well, join us next Sunday, but also join us then.
Join us every time we're on the internet.
Every
Okay.
time. Oh, yeah,
Don't
yeah.
ask questions.
I keep forgetting this. Like, comment, and subscribe, of course. All those good things. And like always, we're going to end the episode on that wonderful Jean Luc Picard quote.
It is possible to commit no mistakes and still lose. That is not a weakness. That is life.
Everyone, have a wonderful, wonderful week.